Okay, we are live. Yes.
And then this
Okay,
is live
so
on Facebook right now, or is just live here?
it's live on Facebook.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
wow! And it's gonna be you're gonna be able to see people like chatting and commenting.
Yeah, the chat. I don't know. Can you see the little chat box on the right side?
I can see the private chat and comments is probably where I need to be.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean that's cool. I ain't even probably gonna pay that no mind. I just wanted to know.
Okay. Yeah, it's streaming. We're streaming live to the Facebook channel. Um, but we only got a little bit of followers, so we're good right now. But I'm so excited that you are joining me today. I'm really excited about this conversation. So I just want to thank you and give you your flowers up front. Oh, the camera fell. Okay, hold on.
Take your time.
Malfunction. Yeah, definitely fell off the thing. But okay. I need this. Ooh, I just bugged that.
Well, while you fixing yourself up over there, I'm just gonna introduce myself. My name is Kima, full name Shay Kima, but my reborn name Kima. Yeah, so I'm just out here. I'm out in Mexico right now on a sabbatical. I was actually living in Los Angeles for the past 4 years. Originally from Washington D.C., from Southeast.
Hmm.
All my folks still on Yum Yum Street, so that's where I be
Hey.
when I be in the city. I'll be right on the south side. That's where you can find me. But yeah, born and raised in DC. Been out in LA for 4 years, just trying to get myself together, figure out life, and figure out who I wanted to be as a woman. I'm still on that journey. Um, just this like spiritual journey, and it's brought me out here to Mexico to kind of continue that continue on that path. And yeah, I'm just out here trying to see what's next for me. So I'm happy to be here, happy to share my journey with everyone that's listening, whoever's listening. But yeah, I'm excited. Thank you, Victoria.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so you got to go back. First, your brand is No More Summers.
Yeah, so my brand is No More Summers. I literally came up with that. I had a like spirit was talking to me in my dream, and I woke up and I sketched up something out, and I was just like, no more summers. Like that just kept sticking with me, and I was getting confirmation in it, and in the things that I was listening to. I remember listening to this Breakfast Club interview by Jennifer Lewis, and she was like, I have no more summers to waste on any like bullshit. I don't even know if you was cussing here, but any bullshit. I'm gonna just have to be real. I have no more time to waste on any bullshit. And it's no more summers. So that was like, damn, I connected with that and where I was in my journey and just feeling like, I've given so much of myself to my past, the past lives, the intergenerational trauma that I was facing throughout my life and throughout the ancestral realm. And it was just like I already given enough of my life to this. Like I want to thrive. I want to be in a better space, and I just want to face my demons and face myself. So No More Summers is my brand. Just a way for me to turn my pain into purpose, to turn this get the trauma out of my body and turn it into art. And I think that has been super healing for me. But so yeah, my site is nomoresummers.com, and we do a lot of t-shirts, and I'm getting ready to drop like some home goods, like some coffee mugs and like some tote bags and stuff like that. So I'm really really getting ready to like push my brand to the next level, push myself to the next level. And I feel like as I grow, my business and my brand will grow because as I step further onto my purpose, I get bigger and better ideas. And I just want to bring those things into life. I think that that's the only, that's really my journey. Bringing my vision and my ideas and using my gifts from God and bringing them into this 3D dimensional world.
Yes. Okay. It's funny you said that. Lately, I was talking to two people who feel like, or, we have these kind of like theories that the world is a stimulation, or, we're in the matrix, or something like that. What do you feel about that?
You know what the funny thing is? That's something that matrix word is like, because I guess like every year I've been on this journey, I'll be having like intentions or words of the year, like words that keep coming up in my year, and it's like the matrix is the topic of this year, and just this whole journey with this pandemic, and just really like stepping out of the matrix. And then I had really started to embrace the pandemic and embrace the stillness and embrace what it meant to just be, and I felt like I was thriving in that, and that I enjoyed that. But as I saw, like, the world saying that the pandemic is over before the pandemic is actually over, but the world saying it's over, saying get back to work, get your vaccinations and do what you have to do. It was just this pressure of like, now the money's ending and unemployment is getting ready to go away, and it's all this pressure, like get back to work and get back to surviving. And I just felt like that survival mode is being in the matrix. That, oh, I gotta go to work and I gotta work, celebrating overtime. It's like, no, that's not
Mm.
the thing. Why are we celebrating that? And I ended up actually like getting a job at the tail end of the I was about to call it the tail end of the matrix. The tail end of the at the tail end of the world, the pain to me, what they say it ended. So we know it's still going on, but at the tail end of like getting that unemployment and everything like that, it was like get a
Mm.
job, and I ended up getting a job, and I just graduated with my associate's degree in early childhood education. So I started teaching, and getting a teach. I got a teaching job, a really really nice teaching job at the lab school that is attached to my university. And like it was a really great opportunity for me to really start to turn these practices that I've been learning and with these theories that I have been learning and put them into practice. So I was excited about that. But it was just like it felt like I literally stepped back into the matrix. Like I'm working 40 hours a week and I'm commuting like 2 hours, and getting up at 5:30 and not getting home to like 6 7 at night, and like not having no time for myself, not having no time to be creative, not having no time to really like take care of myself. Like I just really felt like it was like a culture shock going from being that stillness to back like be productive, do this. You gotta be on this schedule. Like it would be like days when I was in the pandemic or the quarantine, and I wouldn't remember like what time it was. So that's how I know all that stuff. It was is an illusion. The days of the week like did not matter in the pandemic, and it just like all of a sudden just back in that. What time is it? Where I gotta be? What time the bus come?
Mm.
What time I'm supposed to be at work? What time is lunch? Like it's like all this like what is like what like that to me felt like the matrix. So I just feel like that pushed me to come to Mexico and participate in an ayahuasca ceremony, and that was my first time participating in any like plant medicine in that way. Because we know marijuana is a plant medicine, but in that plant medicine in that way.
Okay,
So
wait.
I
Now you
did
got to
that.
tell me about that experience. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh gosh. Yeah, no, no, no. I mean, it's a loaded thing because it was an experience. Like it was a. So I came out here back in I believe September, like for a couple of days. I did the ceremony in September, and spent the night in the jungle. We got there from like maybe like 5, and we didn't leave till like 6 in the morning, and it was just like it was just I don't even know I didn't even honestly know how to put it into words, but it was just like the most beautiful thing just to be out in the nature like that, like in an actual jungle. Like me coming from a concrete jungle, like I'm coming from outside, like I never like had that exposure to nature, and then like also working through my own fear of what that meant to be in the middle of nowhere at night, no light, and just walking bare feet, like while you're participating in this plant medicine ceremony with other people who are like-minded energies, and there for that for the same thing, which is their healing, but it's on their own personal journey. So it was just like we were all just kind of taking place in our own moment, but at the same moment. And it was really, really beautiful. That ceremony, like it took me some places. I was able to like purge a lot of things and let go a lot of things and surrender to the process, even though it was like super intimidating to me because, like I said, like even though I seek out these things, and my spirit is telling me to do these things, but my mind is like, what the hell are you doing? So I went through like a process of like ego death when I was I had did the ayahuasca, and because I smoke so much, like I'm a heavy smoker, and that was one of the things that the facilitator that I was in contact with was telling me that could hinder the experience because I was like very blocked up. So I ended up having to smoke this plant medicine called shanga. So the shaman pulled me outside. I smoked this plant medicine called shanga after doing 3 cups of the ayahuasca, and people were feeling it off of 1 cup. So after doing 3 cups of the ayahuasca, and I was just like, nothing is happening to me. Like I want this so bad. Like I'm surrendering. What do I need to do? Like I really wanted to like get out of my head and be in my heart in it and just really feel that experience. Because with my research, it was just like this experience is really impactful for healing trauma. Like it's helped people heal from addictions, and just it take you through this whole process of really just feeling everything. Like during the experience, I mean, I like laughed, I smiled, I danced, I cried. I purged and like I physically purged things. So it's like it was an experience at sometimes intense experience, but because like I was to finish that last thought I was saying, I had did the shanga and I had went through this process of ego death. So like my mind was like, you're dying, like you're fucking dying right now, and I was just like, I can breathe, like just relax, like you are safe, and I had my one of the facilitators, like I really like absolutely adore him, but he was able to really guide me and like physically hold my hand throughout that process. Because like I said, it had moments where it was an intense experience where I was just like I wasn't ready for that. So, but I definitely went I left after I really got into the experience, and I did all the purging and letting go and tears and the laughing and the dancing. I left being like, I'm gonna come back and do this again.
Okay,
I'm gonna
so
come back
wait,
and do
walk
this
me through
again.
that. What walk me through like the experience when you arrived to Mexico the first time? Like what happened?
I came to Mexico for I believe like 4 days. I think that the ceremony was probably like the second day I got here. So you have to like prepare yourself for the ayahuasca ceremony through like an ayahuasca diet. So you can't like eat like certain things like spicy foods like garlic, like a lot of meats and stuff like that. They want you to really get to like a really simple plain diet. So that's what I had to do in preparation, and also to stop smoking. So I stopped smoking like for several days before the ceremony. But they say the longer the better that you're on the diet, and that you refrain from smoking or even doing certain like medications is the best. Because and I want you to do it because I don't know, I'm not an expert on this, but to do
I just want to know your experience. Yeah.
yeah, whoever's listening, to definitely do your own research so that you can know more about it, because it's a lot that goes into the ceremony itself. And like if you're on certain medications, the ayahuasca can negatively affect you, and vice versa. So we don't want that. So I definitely want people to definitely do their research. But for me, I had to do a diet, and I definitely tried to do it as strictly as I could. It was a lot of things that I like, basic things like garlic powder. I'm like, damn, I can't put no garlic on nothing. Like I was hurt. I was like, just a little sprinkle. Like I was like, what the heck? What the hell am I eat? Like, so I was like, I was really like, it's a full commitment. It's not like you're not going. It is a psychedelic, so you're not going there to trip out and just have a good time. It's not a good experience in that way. But it is a beautiful experience, but it's an intense journey, and we are in charge of that journey. And so if we go in with the wrong intentions, we could affect that journey in a different way. So I just want to say that, like, it's not a recreational thing. So it's something that you really do have to respect, because these, rituals and ceremonies, they are a part of like indigenous cultures, and you're doing it with a shaman, and you're doing it on sacred land. So it's not just something I went there for. Like, I just want to trip out and have some kicks in the jungle. Like, no, I went there because with my intentions, like, I want to heal. I want to get to the next level of my healing. And if I got to go all the way out to the jungles, I need to do it, I'm going to do it. So that's what I did. But when it came to that, so I prepared with the diet, no smoking. I got here the day of the ceremony, like I said, it started at about like 6 or 5, but we couldn't eat that day. Like we had to have like our last meal at probably like 11. So I had my last meal, and it was like a super super healthy, like raw superfood bowl. Like it was like it had a whole bunch of stuff in it. I was like, okay, but I'm out here. I had like a fresh beetroot juice, and that's all I had for the day. And and I just was like, that's gonna carry me over, and it did. But it's best to come there like with not a lot of food on your stomach, and then definitely following that diet, because you go through this purging process where you're either purging it through the mouth or through the body and other ways, getting all the toxins and things that we carry within us out. So that's what the medicine, that process is a part of the medicine as well. But it's not that way for everyone. So everybody's journey is different. But I know through my research, it was saying a lot like to prepare for purging through either way. So
Mm.
that was in my mind. So I ended up the day of the ceremony. We all got like we met at this central location, got picked up, and we went over to this. It was a called I don't even want to butcher the name, but it was Portal Zababa, and it's like basically like this sacred land with this temple, and it had cenotes, and then like everything is really like natural to the earth. Like they have like outhouse bathrooms, like dry toilets, that don't use
Mhm.
water to flush and stuff like that. So it's really, they try to keep it like super close to the earth and stuff like that, and like just being out there, just really taking care of that land and stuff like that, and making it a purposeful and intentional experience for people who do visit that place. So I was like, this is absolutely a beautiful, and I couldn't even like, I never even imagined, like I said, coming from the south side, that I would ever be doing that. So when I got there, I was just like so amazed by what it was, but still kind of like on edge. I was like, I don't know what's this, what is this about to be? I'm about to be here all night with these people, but I just at the same time, my gut was telling me, and spirit was telling me that I was in a safe space, and that I was in a place that I needed to be. So I was down for the ride. So at the beginning of the ceremony, we basically started with doing a ceremony. We worked with a plant medicine called rapé. So they basically, it's like this tobacco that they like ground up into this really like fine powder, and they put it in this like handcrafted tool or pipe that it had like a connection to blow it up your nose. So basically, they blow it up each of your nostrils, and like it goes shooting to the back of your head, and it basically like it's supposed to prepare you for the ayahuasca, and like it opens up your pineal gland, so it gets you grounded and prepared for the ayahuasca ceremony. So everybody went around doing that with the facilitators and the shamans, and yeah, it was intense. Like for some people, like when I say like something shooting up your nose, like it was like it burned. It was like some people were like starting to purge right then and there. I know when I felt it, I was like, it really was like in the back of my head, it was like it was tingling. Like I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go sit down and like feel this moment. But it was definitely like, okay, it was out there, but I was still like not scared off for what was next. I was like, I'm still going to do this because my intention, like I said, was to surrender to the process, to get to the next level in my healing and my spiritual journey. And I was just like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to do that. So we did the rapé, and then that's when we went into this night, this beautiful, I don't even know what you call it, but I call it a temple. And we went there, and everybody had their place around. It was probably like 20, I don't even know how many people, 20 people there, maybe more. And we were all, in our own individual sections, but kind of close to each other. They gave us all purge buckets, so we had, and that was something that was also secret too. Like you had your purge bucket, you cannot use anybody else's purge bucket. Don't touch anybody's purge bucket. You don't want any of their purge to get on you, because you gotta take care. Like that was one of the things that Shaman said: take care of your purge bucket. And I was just like, okay, that's my baby. My purge bucket is my baby.
Ah.
Let nobody touch my baby, and that's my bucket. So, and then because even at the end of the evening, they told us to dig a hole, or toss the purge into like the Mother Earth and like to set an intention with that. So that's why it was a part of, the process. I didn't know that that was what we was going to do at the end, but I just know that they said in the beginning of the ceremony just to take care of that purge bucket and make sure you don't spill it and nobody get don't get that shit on nobody else. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take care of it. So I did that. I'm there and it's starting, and but so basically you go up to the shaman and you get a shot of the ayahuasca liquid or whatever. It's like a shot of it. So it's like this really. It didn't taste as bad as I thought. Like in my research, like I was watching YouTube of people and they were like, yeah, it tastes horrible. And I was like, okay. I was prepared for it to taste bad, but it didn't taste that bad. But yeah, it definitely wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is yummy. I'm trying to go back for more. Like it was like that. It was very natural, and had like a licorice kind of taste or whatever. Like I don't even know. It was it was a very peculiar kind of taste. So you go, you get your shot, and they tell you, you will have to wait like maybe like an hour after each shot, and while the window is open. That's what the shaman said. The window is open, meaning that you can come up to get your shots, and they'll call you and let you know like when to come up and see where you are with how you feel. So every time that I would go up, like I said, I went up 3 times. The first time I went up, people were already feeling their shot of the ayahuasca. They were like dancing. Some people were purging. Some people were crying already. And so that was getting me like, damn, okay, I'm getting ready. Like I was pumped. Like I was just sitting there, my little man.
This gonna be good.
Okay. Yeah, I was like setting my intentions. I was like, this is gonna be good. I can't wait till this happen. Like when I feel this, I was feeling a little bit, but I was like, I ain't feeling really nothing like that. So I sat there, nothing happened. So I go to the facilitator who I had been talking to arrange to go to the ceremony. So I kind of trusted him and everything like that. So he was like my spiritual guide throughout the night. And I was like, yeah, I'm not feeling it. But I remember in the call over, they was like, for all first timers, get all the shots. Get all the shots. Don't question it. Just if you think you should get the shot, take another shot. Don't just they say that a lot of people like regret afterwards. They were like, damn, I should have got more shots. I should have took more shots, or took that second shot when I took the ticket. So they were saying get them all. So I was like, okay, let me ask him if I should get another one. He was like, okay, get another one. So I go get another one, get a second one. The shaman asked me how I'm feeling. I'm like, no, I'm not feeling anything. So they, blow this like special tobacco over me and, help, help trying to clear that energy so I can really feel the medicine. So I go up there, I get another shot, I go back, and I'm sitting there like, okay, I'm still not feeling nothing. But I still had to wait. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna just wait because I don't want it just to hit me out of nowhere. I'm gonna just wait. So I just wait. Still wasn't feeling nothing. Then I go back to the facilitator again, and I'm like, hey, like, should I go get another one? Because I'm just not like I had 2 already. Like I don't know what's happening. Like, and I don't want to leave here. Like I started to get a little bit angry, like because I was like, or that's not angry. I would say frustrated. I was just like, man, I came all the way here to Mexico. Like I didn't come here to not feel this experience. Like I really want to feel it. So I was getting a little frustrated. Like, damn, what am I doing? Like I had one of his name was Abuelo Oscar. And he was kind of telling me to get into my heart. He was like, get into your heart. And I was like, dang, I am in my heart. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, I'm in my heart. I want this. You don't understand. So I go and get the third shot. I got the third shot. I didn't feel anything. That's when I sat down and I was waiting again to try to feel something. And that's when the facilitator and the shaman came to me and was like, we know you're not feeling nothing. We're going to take you outside and we're going to give you something else so you can unblock whatever is blocking you from feeling the ayahuasca. So I was like, I'm all right. I ain't even get up when I got up with no hesitation. Like, I'm going to just go and do whatever they want me to do. I was trying to get into this like real moment. So I go outside and I'm sitting out there with the facilitator, and the shaman comes and he's telling me about the Shanga, which is, another form of DMT. So ayahuasca is a form of DMT. And we naturally produce DMT when we die and when we're born. But so this is another form of that DMT. So, but it's like a lower form of the DMT. Like they have another form which is the 5-molecule DMT. It's also called the toad. Like I just did that ceremony too. It's Bufo alvarius. I don't want to butcher the names and try to I'm trying to, because I'm learning the stuff as I'm going too. But I just did that ceremony too, and that ceremony is called, they call it the God. What they call that? Not the ceremony, but the medicine. They call it the God molecule. So it's another whole another experience that I went through. But we gonna have to definitely talk about that another time. But yeah, I just did that one like last week or so. So that was a really amazing thing. But with the Shanga, it was like that was to open and unblock me so that I could feel the ayahuasca. So I smoked the Shanga, immediately felt it. It was like I remember smoking it and it just went it's like lights and geometric shapes and nothing like if I knew where I was, everything looked the same, but I felt like my spirit was in my like a chamber, like I was locked in a chamber, and then I started like breathing heavy because I was like freaking out, like I was panicking, and my psyche was telling me like I was going through ego death, which is what the facilitator told me afterwards, and he was like, yeah, because I was like freaking out, like I was like, I can't breathe, like you're dying, like I thought I was dying, like I was like, I'm dying right now, like I just smoked this shit, like what am I doing? Like I just did this shit and I'm going to die here in this jungle. Like I really felt like I was, but I kept telling myself, I was like, you can breathe, you safe, and like people, the facilitators and the shamans, and Abuela Oscar, like they were coming along with me to take like to where they was walking past and taking care of me and stuff. Like I remember them saying, what's your name? Like so, like and breathe, sis, and they were like dusting my feet, and it was just like they were there to keep me grounded and keep me to know that I was safe. Like even with Momo is the facilitator that I was talking about that I really trusted. He sat there with me the whole time. He held my hand. I was like, I need you because I need to know that I'm still here right now. Because like I said, like I just felt like, and it was only the shaman said the experience was only supposed to be like 5 minutes, but it felt like forever. Like it felt like it was going on forever because like I said, like I was really like
Mm.
it was super intense for me, and where the space I was in. And I was just like, my mind was like, no, you're dying right now. Like, I just,
Did you
but once
feel
I
like
did,
your
like,
body was weightless?
I had no control of my body. I remember moments, it was like my arms were going like this. I was grabbing on the like leaves, crying, like my body, like I felt the energy through my body, but like I didn't have any control over my body. Like I remember
Did you
trying to
feel
hold
your
my
body
hands up.
still?
I felt my body because it was like moving and stuff. I felt my body. I was in like I felt like my spirit was still there. I was in a chamber though. Like it felt like I was in my body, but I'm just looking and I'm like seeing things different. Like I was in another space. Like I was in another like dimension. So it was just like on some stuff that I can't even really explain. But just knowing that part, like that's how it felt for me. It was just like I know I'm here right now, but I'm not like in control. Like I'm just a small little spirit in this body. Like I'm not in control. Like and all of this shit is an illusion. Like that's how I felt. So I was just like, man. So I went through that, and then that one just carried me into the ayahuasca. It's like the chain kind of wore off, and it came down. Like I ended up purging, and then I went back, and that's when I was having like this really ethereal experience. Like I was talking to my grandmother. I was talking to members of my family that had passed away that I just needed to kind of like close like stuff with, like just saying sorry and stuff like that. And it felt beautiful. Like it was I just kept affirming myself, and through the process I was you know talking about my brand. Like I gotta be well. Like I was like my purpose, like it's tied to me being well. My purpose is, not what I thought it was. It was always like focused on what I can do for other people. Like it was moments where I was just like thinking about my ex, and it was just like you can't save that person. Like you gotta focus on you. And even like it was the moments I was like, talking like my spirit was talking to me. It was just like I need to focus on the kids. Like, and when I say the kids is like the younger generation in my family. Like, I got my 5 youngest cousins, and they like look up to me. So like, and it was just like you need to be well for them. Like, so that's what I left there, just feeling affirmed in my journey. Like, and that I love who I myself, and I deserve to like be out here and be on this journey and be well, so that if I once I'm in a position and I'm thriving, then I can really like show these younger ones, show the children that they can do that as well, you know. So do what I didn't have, you know. I didn't have a lot of people around me showing that there was possibilities to thrive, showing that there was possibilities to live in different ways. So seeing that I'm playing that role for my family, like it's amazing to me, like, and having the shamans affirm me and say, you are here to change the lineage of your family, you are a healer. And I don't know these people, they ain't had no conversation with me, they just coming up to me and telling me that, you know, I have one telling me, just, you know, just behave, just do right for yourself, you know, live your best. Like, I had to live my best life. That's why I took it. He told me to behave, but I said live my best life. I gotta live my best life. So use what they gave you. So I'm really just kind of like, I'm on that journey. And with the plant medicine, like I said, like I had another experience with that. You know, it's a whole nother thing I don't even want to get into right now. But yeah, like I'm willing to go to places I've never been in order to really get this trauma up out of my body, and really to just get to purge all these things that I no longer need. Like, I don't need survival mode. I don't need to live in the matrix. I don't need the trauma to define me. Like, I just want to get back to me, and that, and thrive in life. Do things I never done before.
So when did you? Because I feel the same way, just in that spiritual aspect of um, when you were talking. I kept thinking about higher and lower self, because the ego, to me, my philosophy is the ego is lower self. My ego, her name is Erica with a U. Like, she about it, straight out of DC. Like, she's about it. But then Victoria, she's more she's completely different. Like, she must be North Carolina. She's very nurturing. And then I have um like the higher self that I can like step away and see the both of them, and I can see how they're interacting with each other. I can see which one has the lead. Like, Victoria is like the physical, but who is
Right.
controlling Victoria? Is it lower self or higher self? And like, if I just cussed you out, my bad. That was lower self. But if I came back and apologized, that was higher self.
But see, sometimes you gotta, like I'm saying, like sometimes I had to cuss out families to tell them that my boundaries. I think that was my higher self saying, "Hell no, I'm not doing this no more." I think that I had seen something like recently that was saying that we always get caught tied up in whether the ego is good or bad, and like we need to stop focusing on that. Like, like I can't remember exactly what it was saying, but it was just like it was in just saying like we get tied into trying to make sure, like trying to put the ego in this good or bad thing, like this is, or make it bad when it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Like, why does it have to be good or bad? Like, that's, I don't know. Like, we get to
I get
define
that.
that. We get to define that for ourselves. Like, I can't really explain it, but it moved me when I seen that. And I was like, because I was thinking about my whole ego death experience, and I've always thought of ego as being a bad thing. Like, but I see people like Kanye West, like who I've always admired, because I saw his ego as something that was his strength, like his super strength. Like, he wore his ego like as his like superpower. Like, no, you can't tell me shit. Like, cause this is who I am. And I, as a child, like I said, growing up in the hood and not getting told who I had to be, it was like seeing Kanye West like be this black kid, like, man, and he was just owning his power, and I didn't even know what he was doing, and I ain't had a term owning his power, but I was just like, he that nigga, like I was just like, he don't give a fuck about what people say, and he's gonna say how he feel, and yeah, like he can articulate his thoughts well, and he gonna put that shit on the table. And for me, that's like a child who didn't have a voice, I was just like, man, I wish that I could have that type of ego where I could own my power in that way. So I don't know. I don't know if ego
But
is
is
good.
that ego? Because I feel the same way. Like, I was silenced as a child, and then I super admire the consciousness that Kanye has, and I feel like when you're connected, for me, I feel like when I'm connected, the more that I'm connected to, because we have two brains, the more I'm connected to that rational brain, the better I can hear spirit. And so I don't feel like that's ego, but that's me obeying spirit. And if I was in that lower state, in that conditioned state is what I call it, because that's the foundation that you're just taught. All of that is put on to me. That's all of that's put on my lower self. That those conditioning, what the world told me, the matrix. My lower self is operating in that. My higher self, she out here thugging it, like she do what she want, but she obeys something that comes to her, and I feel like that's the spiritual aspect kicking in, and just kind of like I feel like it can get bad when I'm not listening. So if I'm in this state and I was supposed to do something and I'm like, then it turns out bad, and it looks like um, either I'm not showing up for myself or I'm too showing up too much. But I feel like the balance is when I'm obeying um, that spirit, that calling that I hear.
I agree. I just don't like. I'm just like I gotta think about this more. Like, what is ego? Like, what the hell is ego? Like, what are we like? Because clearly, my definition of it has been from a condition being programmed, like of this being a bad thing, and like having the ego is just not something that you want to have or claim to have or I guess resonate with. And it's like, no, like maybe your ego is that power that says, listen, like it is that spirit within you that's saying, move on that. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's
That's something
interesting.
we gotta look into.
Yes.
Yeah, do
Okay.
my
So
own
you
little
said
research on that.
you were talking about saving people, and you said something about your ex. So now I feel like we gotta we got we
Now we
gotta
gotta
go
go
there.
there. We gotta
Yes.
go there. Go
Okay, I
where?
say that. Okay. No,
Go
okay. So
where?
what I'm thinking when you say that is, I also have an ex that I felt like, I feel like there's people in my family members that I'm trying to save from this conditioning or whatever, and then I feel like my ex was like a clear, like you really learn yourself when you are in relationships with somebody that close, and so for me to just kind of see, I already had this like inkling with my family that stuff is not right and people are not doing anything, but to see it up close and personal like that, that was like a real heart, like somebody stabbed me in the heart. Like I can't, like, but I love you, like, but you're a good person, and like, but you should be able to get this. Like, why don't you see this? And then being trauma bonded to that.
Yo, I was about to say, this. Do you feel like y'all was trauma bonded? Because that's what the hell I was on. I mean, and then I was young. I definitely laugh at the shit now because I'm still going, like, I still be in communication with my ex. And it just be like, I just was thinking just the other day, like, I'm just like, why am I even talking to somebody who's committed to misunderstanding me? Like, this shit doesn't even make any sense. I'm just like, I'm trying to look within myself and just being like, why? Like, am I allowing this person access to me if they're not even coming to me with love and like the real, like true love that I know that I deserve now? Like, not that shit that I thought I deserved back then. No, the love that I know that I deserve and the love that I know that I am right now. Like, why do I continue to? Because I just feel like it's always a trauma bond. It was a trauma bond between me and him, and me feeling like I could save him, and he was something that needed. Like he was a thing that needed me to, I guess, for survival. And it's just like I was never like focused on myself, and I don't know. It's still something that's there, like because like I said, I still am in contact with him and stuff, and I still be like, I'll go to weeks without thinking about him, but then it'd be like, damn, I wonder what he had. Like, is he good? Is he straight? And it's always that, and it's like I need to let that shit go. I need to let that shit go because it's not getting me nowhere. Like being in toxic relationships with people and really just giving people access, because I don't even say it's toxic because the thing is like I don't even like let it get me like it did, like it used to. Like I'm just like I don't even argue with you. Like you committed to misunderstanding me. It's just like I'm questioning and like how do I remove or lessen or put more boundaries with this person and less letting that person emotionally control me anymore. Like I just don't even get wound up in it. But sometimes it does trigger me and it just gets me like, what the hell am I doing? Like it always be like
So
that.
what
What
did
the hell
that
am I
look
doing?
like? I mean, just
What
back then, So obviously you was grown from back then. What was your
Yeah.
interpretation of love back then? And then what is your interpretation now?
Lord, I'm still learning what my interpretation of love is now, but I know that boundary is one of the things that is it. That is love right there. Boundaries and safety and like just showing up for people. Like I don't know, like and that just that emotional like I need that emotional spiritual thing. Like I'm learning a lot about love still, just about through loving myself. And I haven't really dated a lot with since I haven't been with my ex. Like I have been like just focusing on my own like journey and stuff like that. But I've had interactions with people, and I know through those interactions, like you said at first, like we heal with people, and I know that I cannot heal in isolation. But through those interactions with other people, you know, romantic and platonic, like I learned that I still got a lot of healing to do for myself, like with allowing emotionally unavailable people in my life because I grew up with emotionally unavailable parents, and it's so easy for me to get caught up in this. Let me make this like let me chase this person. Let me show them that I'm worthy of love. And it's like, no. As soon as I get into that, and like I don't say I'm perfect. Like I just was doing some crazy shit in the pandemic, just being in that survival mode space where you just want to feel something, and you just like
Yes.
it took me a couple weeks, and I was like, oh nah, I was like, oh nah, like I'm getting caught back up, and I had to really step away, and like I had to do some just like separating like that because that's not what I want for myself no more. So that is love for me choosing myself over the shit that I used to do. Like trying to be needed, trying to play this part, and it's like I am my own. Like I go in, I guess I'm dating these people trying to like be in that feminine energy or where you like nurturing and taking care of them and stuff like that. And it's like, no, you can take care of yourself. You can be nurturing to yourself. You can get your shit done on time. You can take a hot bath. You can get your aromatherapy going. You can smoke your tweed in your garden, and you can really just enjoy your take yourself on a date. You can be your own feminine energy. You can be a soft space for yourself, and you don't have to
Mm.
really be looking for that in a relationship because like I said, like I was still doing that and like still waiting and for that person to come, and I know it'll come, but I like in my last situation, like I really saw like this guy, he was really like on a spiritual tip, like and I really like that, and that showed me a lot of that, like of what I want in a partner. Like I want somebody that can be emotionally available, like that can be like that has that balance of their feminine and masculine energy because I need that too. Like I don't need no. I need to have like I know I have a lot of masculine energy, but I also need to be in my softness too. So you can't like as a man, like I want or a partner, I want them to be able to set that like that ground too in that tone where you can show up as yourself. This is a safe space by just being themselves too. They don't gotta. It ain't something that they gotta do for me to make me feel safe. Just being yourself, just showing up as yourself. That is the safety. You being able to be like, I had, this dude, he's getting on his knees and praying. Like I ain't never had no dude do that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I like that. I was like, God, Yahweh, he is out here. He Yahweh. So I was like, okay, yeah.
That's so
But
funny.
that
I
was
just had
cool.
that experience where
Mm-hmm.
I met someone who was so my thing is I love to learn, and like I would consider myself, we put labels on it, sapiosexual. Like you got to be able to really stimulate my mind for me to even find you attractive. So I met a guy, and so I met a guy, and he was spiritually bound. Like he was praying, but not just any prayer. Like he got on the floor and like that's a different
Yeah.
level of prayer. Like
Yeah.
you are able
Yeah.
to put down your masculinity and pray to somebody higher than yourself. Like, sir,
Yeah.
like that is attractive. And I think that
It
some
was.
people think that spirit or even religion, but just think that a connection with God is unattractive. Like they want to hide that part of themselves. But you showing me
Yeah.
that first, that's instantly that's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
different connection.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I had that experience, and like it wasn't, I'm not gonna. The guy wasn't a bad person. He definitely. We were just in two spaces that I just like. I can't take that on right now. But I felt
Mhm.
like he had the bones of him. His roots, like, was where I found. And I always fall for the roots, but I want to see the fly. Like I want to see the flowers too. I
Yeah, I'm trying
always
to see it
fall for the
bloom.
roots. I want to see it bloom too. So I'm like, I can't be that that's watering you, trying to grow you and stuff like that. When I'm really out here, really
Ooh.
trying to pour into myself, and I think that that's what it was. And it was on a spiritual level. When I say like, he would have dreams with me in his dreams, and you know, I had dreams of him in my dreams, and just the feeling that I had, like he was definitely. I was just like, so it's out there. Whatever it is for me, it's out there. Like if it's whether it's him, and I was telling them, I'm like, if it's even if it's not you, it's on the way. It's on the way because I see I'm getting closer. I'm aligning with that
Mm.
journey. I don't think it's a process of me finding love. It's me being love. I'm gonna meet
Ooh,
that
that's
shit.
a
Like
bar.
I'm gonna meet it for real. Like I'm gonna meet it, and like I met that dude just randomly, just living my life, and it's like the spirit, like souls connected us, but I was just like, I can't. Again, I gotta choose me. Sometimes you gotta leave, and I seen this on in my little like Instagram scrolls, but it was like sometimes you gotta let go of things you love, and it was like I could love that person, but I just can't love that person right now. Like I can't. Like I kind of love me, so yeah, but I just know after experiencing him, I was like, okay, I'm getting closer to the shit that's more aligned with my heart and that spiritual aspect and that metaphysical, like in that love for God and or Yahweh is what he would say, and just like he would be super like just yeah, like I'm talking about go to church with me. Like I'm all in, like I'm in that. And I'm like I said, I'm not like a super religious person. I'm more so a spiritual aspect. But again, like I love to go to church and I love to like worship with people like my elders. I really go to my I belong at this church and it's just full of elders and stuff. And I felt like my spirit called me there because of my grandmother, and like it reminded me a lot of the church that my grandmother used to take me to, which was her sister's church. And it was just like this is where my spirit's supposed to be. So I go in there and I be feeling the word. So I'm just like that is like, and I my church is everywhere. I had my church with my friends on their couch. I had my church on the beach. I have my church everywhere. So, but when I get into that building and my church home, I just like it's something that really takes over my spirit. So being able to share that with somebody who's equally aligned in that way, who love God, who have manners and respect for themselves, that's going to show up and really like like have respect for me and respect of my time. Like I'm just like that's gonna come. But that was what he taught me a lot about. With my ex, it was a lot of just trauma bonding, and he taught me love too. He taught me that I can love something outside of myself. When I didn't know what love was, but it was still like a false idea of love because I didn't know that from my family. I didn't know that from my parents. Like it was no hugs and kisses and I love you. It was that it was a version of nurturing, but it wasn't the version of nurturing that I needed for my spirit and my soul. So I
Yes,
didn't know
yes.
love. So I was just learning. I learned a false idea of love, but it was love. I would say that like I had feelings of love for that person, but it wasn't the love that I would aspire
It's
to have in
levels.
my life at this
Yeah.
moment. Yeah, like I wouldn't at this 30, going on 31, in a few months, I would never want that. Like I wouldn't want that again. So that's why I'm questioning even the connection. Like it ain't no feelings of I want to be with that person. It's just like the connection. I always because of the trauma bond. Like and I always it was so funny. Like when I was dating him, I would tell my friends, I was like, it's like that movie Hancock. You know that movie Hancock where Will
Oh
Smith
yeah,
and
they
the
apart and they
down,
see.
Charlie Theron or Theron. She like, they even no matter how far they try to get away, they would come. And like it would be times it's like I would not talk to my ex. I'd be working my job. This guy worked the job right down the street. And like I was just I'll be like, how is this happening? Like, and I know the DMV area is small, but at the same time, it was just like, how is this happening? Where I'm living my life. I don't have no contact with this person, but everywhere I'm go, they seem like they somewhere close. So I
Mm-hmm.
just was. I always say I was like, that is. I thought he was like he was my twin flame. He was a version of that. You know, we get multiple, I believe, twin flames. Like he was but we definitely was trauma bonding for sure. So he taught me a lot about that version of love, that young love, that I
What did
guess
he teach you about
devotion.
yourself?
Oh my gosh. That I can love. That I can love. I can love things outside of myself. I mean, he taught me, yeah, he taught me, I guess he taught me that,
Okay, for
I don't know. I
example,
never really thought about that.
like my ex, so I feel like I was writing notes while you were talking. Now I can't read my handwriting, of course, but it's a we attract ourselves. So like I kept telling my ex that we are twins. Like you don't see it, but he was like the unaware twin and I was like the aware twin. And he
Yeah.
couldn't see it. So um like just anything I said, whatever I said, he would, if I made a suggestion or something like that, he would see it in me, but he could never see it in himself. So he taught me, one of the things that he taught me was that I can, like you said, just always putting my energy into other people. I didn't know how to like do anything for myself. Like you know, I grew up and I developed this love language of giving. You know, so I know
Oh
that
gosh. I was just thinking that. That's
if
what
I
he taught me.
give,
Yeah.
so he taught me how to give to myself basically. I didn't know how to give to myself. I pay for you. I pay their rent. I'm buying them a purse. And then me, I'm good with whatever. I don't mind. You
Yeah,
know.
exactly. Yeah, I would say definitely taught me that I can be a giver, a little, a lot of an overgiver and an overlover. I definitely was that type of person that was like willing to show up, no matter what. But yeah, I just like I had to eventually like reclaim my power and just be like, I gotta choose myself. Like I can't do this with you. Like I feel like we were just living in our past lives. Like, and I had the shaman tell me that he's like, y'all, your spirit, your soul is an old soul, and it was like I always knew I lived. Like I feel like a grandma my whole life. Like I always knew I lived like a multiple lives, and I don't know what those lives like all those lives entail, but I just felt like when it came to me and my ex, like we had lived in together in the past life, and it was just like I'm tired of doing this. I'm tired of trying to save you, trying to heal you. Like you gotta go on your way, I gotta go my way. And it's still to this day. Like this was in 2015 that we finally broke up. Um and yeah, like I just still to this day, it's just like no. It's just as I grow more and more and more, I just know that I could not have taken that person on this journey with me. And it's like you gotta like
Mm-hmm.
let go of things you love. You gotta let go of things you love to get to your next level. And I just continuously have to do that. Even, leaving friends and LA. Like I loved LA, but it was just like this is not gonna get me to my next level, being in this matrix, being in this grind, trying to like live a life that looks good, but it don't feel good. Like I loved it being there. I have a whole tribe of people. Like I was like, I didn't even cry, but I was like, I'm sad because like I know I'm leaving these people who I chose as my family. But at the same time, they was all telling me, I'm gonna be here for you. Like we gonna be here. Like nothing don't have to be permanent. And for me to have that, that is love. Like I'm learning love through the people that I get to choose in my life, not the people who just came with the life and like an extra set of batteries. Those are the people that does they fueled me in different ways, but they fueled me to go after the true love that I deserve. They didn't fuel me to I don't know, but yeah, definitely that to go after the true love that I deserve. But I do love my family. Like for a long time, I had a lot of self hate with my family, like just because of the heaviness that came with being a part of that family, and it was just like I don't like this. I don't like myself because if you don't like something that you don't like that, then that's a part of you. Because I realized that once I stepped away from it And I was like, oh, they were the people that were bringing me down. They were this, they were that. And it was like, no, now that stuff is, you've internalized the trauma, you've internalized the shit, and it's intergenerational trauma. So you face the shit that your grandma, your great grandmother, and your great great grandmother face. Like, you're all this pain, and now it's in you, and you done went to LA, and then you crying and get yourself to sleep because you feeling this shit, and you never had to feel it. You never was in a quiet room by yourself and really had to like hear from spirit and say like that shit is in you now. You've hurt people too. So it's just like that was just
Wait a minute.
that's
Wait a
been a
minute. Okay,
process.
wait. The accountability that you go through when you
Yeah.
step into this journey. Can you talk about that? Like, cause boy, I just hit a new level, and I live on the road in the hotel. I was in the room crying, like, Lord, I don't know
Yeah.
about this, just because the
Yeah.
accountability, like, finally seeing that. Oh wait, I was wrong too. Like I thought it was him. Like it was me. Like what? How has that been for you?
Yeah. I mean, that was just heavy. I mean, like I say, like my first year in LA, like I was like, I'm getting the fuck away from all these people. Like I left in the most dramatic way. God was taking me through it. Like he was like, if you ain't gonna move, I'm gonna take you through it. I'm gonna make you so uncomfortable that you just can't have no other choice but to do what the hell I'm telling you to do. Because it was like I wasn't listening. Like I was just so scared to make the move to LA, but it was always on my heart. But right at the tail end of that journey of being in DC, I was going through it the most. I was back around the neighborhood that the public housing neighborhood that we was born, grew up in with my grandmother, and it was just like a generational thing. It just kept getting it passed down to my aunt. And now it's looking like it's getting passed down to the cousin, and it's like I'm just like, how did I end up here? Like I always used to be here, like because my mom would us we stayed in Maryland, and we would just come there on the after school on the weekends stuff like that. But it was just like, how did I end up here? This is a place that I never felt like I should be, and then I'm just going through it with my mom and shit like that. And it's like it took me a whole lot just to push me to get to LA. So when I got to LA, I was like, okay, I'm leaving all that behind. I'm leaving all the mess and all the stress and all the dysfunction, and I'm going off and I'm gonna be at peace. But when I got to where I was, like I was really going through it the first year, like I'm crying, myself to sleep. Like I'm like spirit literally talking to me. Like I'm writing things down. I'm hearing it in music. I'm going through it because it was just like he he put me in that place of isolation so I can really understand that it was me who was like really co-creating my life too. Like I am putting out with bullshit. I am doing shit with my ex. I'm keep going back and forth. Like I'm not treating myself right. I'm not giving to myself. I'm finding new ways to give to people to be needed. Like if it wasn't my ex, I was being a nanny. Oh, these babies and these families, they need me. I gotta give them this amount of hours a week. I gotta not pursue other things that I want to pursue because these people need you. So it's like I was always looking to replace that feeling, that emptiness that I had within myself with something else. So I was going through a process of just really understanding that it was me and that this beautiful city with the palm trees and all this luxury that I'm around, beautiful, serene place. And I'm like, I always wanted to be here. So just having that feeling of, knowing that I finally saw a dream of mine come true. I still wasn't happy. I was hella sad. Like I was hella like frustrated with the fact that I was still. So I had to go through that process of just really like crying, facing myself, like I would get snappy at people, and people would be like, I don't even understand why you mad. Like, and I would just be sitting with my stuff and my thoughts. I'm like, I don't even understand why did I kirk out on that person for no reason? Like, but it was me becoming the hurt. Like, I was hurting people. And I, like, once I saw, like, damn, I am becoming that hurt. And I had become that hurt. And I started going through the log of the things that I had felt bad about. Like, things that I've done to people, and it was like, okay, why did you even do that? You was just angry. You didn't even have to respond that way. And yeah, I went through a process of just really like being in awareness, like just being in awareness. Just awareness changed my freaking life. Like awareness and a perspective change. Because once you gain that awareness, I think that was what had me like going through it a lot. Because it was like I thought it was all of them that was making my life horrible, but it was like it's me playing a role in this stuff too, and I'm becoming the people that hurt me. So by hurting myself and hurting others, like not having boundaries with people, keep saying yes when I should be saying no, and just
So when did you
keep
develop
letting people.
boundaries?
Oh my gosh, like I'm still developing boundaries. So that I'm still
Facts.
developing boundaries. I remember when I went to Paris. I went to Paris, and no, I was in. Okay, I went to Paris, but I went to London one day. So I went to London for a day, but I was in London, and when I got on the train, and the train has a big gap between the platform and the train. So and on the train platform it says mind the gap. And I remember taking a picture of that, being like, this is me, mind like this is me and my family. Like in this that gap is the boundaries that I have with me between me and my family. And I remember writing this, like posting it on Instagram and writing this thing, just saying like, sometimes people like your family not gonna understand when you duck your calls, when when you don't connect with them and you duck their calls and da 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 da. They may not understand, but you gotta focus on you. Like, and that was Spirit just talking to me. Spirit just saying like you gotta let them go. Like you gotta duck their calls. You gotta put a boundary between. You gotta mind the gap. It's a
Mm-hmm.
gap between you gotta mind that. Like, and I just always that always stuck with me. So that was like the first time when I really started thinking like, you the cousin that don't show up. And that's not a bad thing. Because you have to decipher whether this is important enough. Like, is these people safe for you? So are you even in a space where you can even be around them? So that's the boundaries, just knowing that I can't come. I can't like when I came to LA, I didn't go back home for like a year or two. So like I didn't visit DC for like a year or two. Like I was like I'm on the run. I was telling people I'm on the run. I don't want to talk about my family life. I don't want to talk about none of that shit because it was just like I want to live a new life. I want to put that shit behind me. But I had to understand too that it wasn't a process of just leaving them behind. It was a process of leaving that trauma behind. My family, at the end of the day, the root of my family is love. Like my grandmother loved us, so she loved us so much that she sacrificed herself for us. She stayed in the projects for us, so we can have that place that we can call home, in that safe space. So at the end of the day, yeah, my family got a whole bunch of bullshit and dysfunction, but that's not all on them. Yeah, they do have a choice in continuing that shit, but it's not all on them the way they are and how they got there. It's a bigger thing, like out here in the world. Like now that I got out of my bubble of just what it was being in the hood, because you in a bubble, and or even in the DMV. I'm out here now. I'm like seeing the world, and it's like the systematic shit that goes on. The reason why we in the hood, why we in the food desert, like all this stuff. Like I didn't even know nothing about, and I used to hate what myself because I was there. But it's like no, it's like why are you even hating yourself? Because these people put you here for that very reason for you to hate yourself. Feel like you don't deserve nothing but concrete, nothing but patchy grass, nothing but playing on top of fucking crack pipes and needles and all types of shit. Like like all of that shit that happens in poverty. Like they make you they build the lack mindset into us when we young. And the family, you can see it. They've been conditioned as well to believe in the lack mindset because when I do anything, that's when it's like, oh, she weird for that. Oh, you be always doing all this crazy stuff. Like you might like my aunt, she's my great aunt, she's so funny, but she'll be like, you like this because it's just weird. I'll be like, how the hell? I like something because it's weird. Everything I do is weird, and it is what it is. Like I've always been the black sheep of the family, and I've always been. I know that I am chosen, and that's something that I've been battling with too. That isolation that comes with being chosen. It's like shit. That should be
Mm.
hard. People think it's like it's lit. Like oh, you out here, you living your best life. No, I'll be missing my fucking family. I'll be missing the things that I know. Like, but it's like I know I gotta be on this journey but like I was just like walking around, out here, and I was just like, man, like it's just so crazy that people, yeah, you chosen, but people don't understand like the isolation that goes into that. Like
How you gotta
when you're
really
learning.
change yourself. You gotta uproot
Yeah,
everything that you were taught
yeah.
to for
Unlearn
something
everything.
bigger than yourself. Like that ain't easy.
Right.
That's
It's
not.
not
Let
easy
me look
at
at the
all.
camera.
It's
Hello. That's not easy.
right. Right. And just like sitting with yourself, like, because again, it's new levels of the healing. So now it's like I feel like I'm working still through my mother wounds. I'm still working on the PTSD of growing up in the hood and in poverty and like
Do you think you have
intergenerational trauma.
oh, you
Mhm.
have CPS PTSD?
PTSD, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, I've connected with a therapist and stuff like that. So I definitely struggle with PTSD, anxiety, depression. Yeah, so it's just like those things that they show up in my profile when I talk to my therapist and stuff like that. So that's something that I'm working on clearing those things because like when I came out to LA, like I was suffering with suicidal ideation. Like I was ready to go because I was like everything. It's something else. It got to be better than this. Like it has to be. Like something got to be better than living this life where I'm keep going. I don't know. Like I was going through a lot of cycles of like just trauma. Like it was just like stressing me out with dysfunction. It was like I'm tired of this shit. So but at the same
Yes.
time, I struggled with it because it was like I had the suicidal ideation, but I just felt like I wasn't even had enough balls to do the shit. I was like, and that to me was a mind fuck because it was like, yeah, that would be my way out, but I don't even know if I could do the shit. So that just
That's
felt like,
crazy.
yeah, yeah, it just felt crazy to me. Like,
No,
but yeah, that's
it's
something I
interesting
felt.
that you say that. I felt that way going through the trauma bond, trying to break the trauma bond. I just felt like nobody understands me. I just lost my baby when I was going through the pregnancy, which was super hard. Everybody was just like, "Oh, that's how it is being pregnant. Welcome to pregnancy. Welcome to motherhood." But like, no, something was wrong. I got preeclampsia, and I understand my body, so I felt something being wrong. But I also um, mentally. So I feel like every disease shows up in our body physically. Every mental disease shows up in our body physically. Mentally, I was super down during the pregnancy. Like I didn't understand. Like I knew that my baby was more than likely not going to have a father because of how crazy the relationship was shaky. Like 9 times out of 10, you know, in a few years, months before she even come, he could walk out and feel like, hey, I don't have to deal with you. And he has previous kids, so I know that he doesn't have any problem doing that. Um, so I had to, it was a realization of like seeing that I don't love myself as much as I thought I did, and if I did, I wouldn't be in the situation. And then afterwards, trying to hold on, I lost my train of thought. Uh, what was I saying? The trauma. Oh, yes. Um, I had the suicidal thoughts. Like after all of that, then I'm going through the trauma bond. Nobody's really understanding. Nobody in my environment is really understanding what a trauma bond is and why a heartbreak hurts so bad and why we go back to what we know because it's a bond. Um, and people keep just just telling me these like t-shirt sayings and where like a lot of cliche stuff is true. We got to really look at why it's like that, and it hurts because of this bond that we created. So I felt like, I didn't want to be here. And then I felt like I didn't want to be here because it was too much and nobody understood me and could really walk me through this journey. But then I felt like I was even more upset because how could I be so down that I have this thought of wanting to commit suicide? And so that put me in even worse of a mood.
Yeah, right. It's like a mind fuck. It's like, damn, like this is the very thing that you thinking about. It's like, I don't know, like it's like you like, why are you even thinking that? Like, I don't know. But that shit definitely was a heavy time for me. So I haven't since I've been on my journey. I have not thought about and I'm not up and down times and shit like that because I'm still learning and growing. But I have not. Uh, that has not crossed my mind at all ever to be like my way out of my situation because now I feel like I have the tools to really just like breathe through some shit, meditate through some shit, really just even like just play. Like I'm really big on the inner child work. So like playing and like getting out, moving my body and shit, doing what I need to do to heal my inner child is just has been super helpful for me. to really work through like the PTSD, work through the depression and the anxiety. But it definitely still shows up in my life like a lot with just the stress and stuff of like just it's the dysfunction of the life that I used to live, like past lives. So that's why I do I'm going through the process of working with these plant medicines so I can really just really get to my next level. Like I've been doing my work. I've been on this journey. I know you've been on the journey too, but I've been on this journey and like I know I see my growth and from that person I was in 2017 to now, like it's just a whole different person. So that's why the same shit that be coming at me, it'd be like just different. Like I'd be like, I don't even understand that, but something that within me needs to change. It's like I just got a whole nother perspective change. It's like because I know that I am co-creating this life with the creator, himself, and I'm working too. Like I'm making things happen. I'm moving my feet when my spirit tells me to. I think that we do have a certain level of free will in the fact that we can choose not to listen to that spirit or that calling. But it's like I don't want. I'm in the point where at the point where I'm just like I don't want the life that's given to me. I had my younger brother tell me, "Oh, you don't have to settle, right?" And like I never had anyone tell me that. Like it was always about settling for the life that you were given. Like nah, stay
Mm-hmm.
here in the DMV. Like, oh no, I've been there my whole fucking life and I never resonated with this shit. Like, it gotta be something else out there for me. Like, but you got people who that's just what, and it ain't nothing wrong with, I guess, I don't even want, like, I guess mediocre just has a bad connotation to it, but I did have a person tell me that, it's some people that do have to live in mediocrity, you know, who we need the person that is doing those jobs that need to make that need to get done to make life happen. Like, but for me, like my spirit is calling me to just be out here and do take risks, let go and leave shit and people behind, even things that I love. It's not like where it was in DC where it was a lot of stress and trauma. So it was like I had a struggle with leaving there, but at the same time, I knew I had to leave there. But like LA and other things, like it was like, damn, these things I love and these people, they show up for me. It's hard to leave this, but I still got to do it because I'm on my journey. It's people along. I haven't met all the people that's going to love me in my journey, and it's like that's what I got to remind myself that as I keep going through my process, I'll meet more and more people that will show me that genuine love that I deserve. It's not the journey is not in one place.
Right.
So
Right. I feel that way. I consider the DMV as a bubble. Like even now, like I live close to the DMV, but I live in Fairfax. Like I feel like that in northern DC and that I mean Northern Virginia and that DC, that just the area that I'm from, it's a bubble. And when I drive down 95, I start to like pew out the bubble, and I can breathe differently. I think differently. I'm not in a traumatic state. When I go home, my anxiety is up. I feel it. Like as soon as I drive into the bubble, I feel it. My anxiety raises, my awareness. I get more like sensitive because I got to figure out who's gonna, like, I gotta, it's completely different than when I'm in
right,
Greensboro or if I'm in Atlanta, if I'm in Dallas, even if I go to Dallas Hood, I don't feel the pressure that I feel in the DMV. Like it's completely different. But one of the things that I mean, like you're saying, you want to talk to the kids. I feel that, and I feel like a lot of people talk to the kids though. So me, I'm more so like I want to talk to the people raising these kids because they're gonna go to the after school program. They go to school and they get this information, and then they go home and their dreams are shattered. And I need a better word for small minds, but it's kind of like if you share a big dream with a small mind, that's the fastest way to kill it. But we're not
right.
we're
I
it's so
definitely get.
normal.
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying. And when I say talk to the kids, it's like I'm more so talking about the kids in my family. Like I can't change. Like I'm there definitely talking to the adults. I had an instance where, my youngest cousin was crying and he's a 3-year-old boy. And I had this one of like the little elders, that be a family friend of a family, and they're like, boys don't cry, they bark. And I'm like, telling them, I'm like, no, black kids do cry. Like, that's one of my kids. And I'm like, black kids do cry. No. And she just said, like, adamant, like, boys bark. And it's like, so it's only so much to me that you can do in that. But I definitely speak to them, and I speak to that generation of people, because I do think that as elders, and as youth, we need to learn together. Like, we need to learn in community. We need to get back to community. That's something that's really, really important to me. And I think that growing up, that was one of the things that was a joy growing up, even in projects, like in poverty. We had a community we had elders who looked out for us, even if my grandmother couldn't see us. Like, it was all that, and we would be mad and be like, "Damn, I know she gonna go tell grandma, or she gonna tell blah, blah, blah." But at the same time, it's like to have people looking out for you, and even whether it was food, do your hair, watch you. I didn't stay over people's house in the neighborhood, like all of that stuff. Like, I got memories of that. So I think that for me, when I say the kids, I'm speaking of these kids in my family, and like making sure that I'm showing them something else other than what is around them. Because I do think that I have made an influence and an impact. Like, I got my little cousin, and she just turned 12. She's like under my wing, and I talk to her about everything. I talk to her about the shit in the family. I talk to her about the past. I give her answers that I was looking for when I was that age, that had me spiraling, that had me feeling isolated, depressed, and not feeling misunderstood. Because it's like, what is all of this that's going on? I'm seeing the dysfunction, but none of the adults around me can give me any answers. We literally, the most just really dysfunctional moments would happen, and it would just be like, next moment we kicking it. Like, nobody's talking about what just happened. This man just stabbed a woman right here at the bus stop, and y'all telling us to go inside, but we still see what happened. And now y'all just outside kicking and drinking, and nobody's going to ever talk to us about that. So, like, little stuff like that, like, and that was what it was like growing up. And I have cousins and family members who've experienced worse things than I've experienced. And I went through a lot of disassociating with my shit. Like, I would have my cousins telling me, like, "You don't remember being there?" I'm like, "No, I don't remember being there," because that's how stressful it was for me as a child. Like, I was like, I zoned out. Like, I would go other places. I would go in my head a lot. And I felt like my head, from being in my head, was like my safe space, but it also was the place that it could kill me, because that's what the thoughts was. That's what the thoughts was. It was like, man, fuck this. You can just die. Like, you don't have to be here. You can get out of this shit. Like, like all this stuff that was in my head. That wasn't in my heart. That's that wasn't really what I want or needed. Like, I needed people to talk about shit. So that's why with my cousin, like, I talk to her. I tell her I'm going to my ceremonies. I tell her about the shit I'm doing. I tell her about the mistakes I made. I tell her shit that she can resonate with, because she struggles with her, issues, like with connecting with, her family and certain members of her family, and that we share. I don't want to get into, but that we share. So it's like, I gotta give her an understanding of that, like, by sharing what I go through, like with my issues. I'm still trying to build relationships with my mother. I just tell her, I'm like, I don't talk to my mother, but my mother just texted me the other day and said she's sorry. I share that with her, because I'm like, you just never know what can happen when you give something time. You gotta live your life in the process, though. You can't wait for these people to accept you for who you are. Because I see her as being, if it's not me, it's gonna be her, for my family, my lineage. Like, she's gonna make change for my family. So, or she's gonna continue change for my family. So it's gonna happen, but it's a slow crawl, and it may not be where we see it. So I think that for focusing on the elders, to me, it's things you can do, but I do think it's a waste of time. I think it needs to be more work done with the youth. My best friend Shaniqua, she works at FAN, an organization in DC, which is an organization that works with at-risk youth, and she's really doing some really good work. And I'm just been super excited and thankful that I can connect with her to do work within that community with the food pantries and the community fridge. And we see people showing up and really like caring for the community, like, and the elders, and just giving them that safe space and that hub to pour into community, and see that we got each other back still, no matter how much they want us to be in this individualistic mindset, where we don't give a fuck about people, or we gotta hurt people to get up in life, or we gotta step on people and shit like that. And it's like, no, we don't have to do that. Like, because all what's for you is for you. And if you get we connect back to our essence, which is our spirituality, because we as as in our ancestral realm and in that realm, we do have an essence of spirituality within our African culture. I know we so disconnected from that as African American, but we do have that ancestral spirituality that we really do need to connect back to and get out of this matrix, get out of this modern world, get out of these social constructs that they made for us that make us think that shit is for this set of people or it ain't for us and we can't do that. Like, no, we need to get back to like really just caring about each other and like and get back to our roots. So for me, it's like I'm bartering with people. Shit, I'm like, what you got? I got what you got. You got what I got. Let's barter. Like I'm gonna get back to our roots. Like, and that's community. Like my dream is to have some land, have tiny homes, because I am so obsessed with tiny home living and like that minimalistic living. But having some land, having some tiny homes, having create my own community, having a garden, like the community garden where we really like pour into the earth and we that stuff produce and that food feeds us, like, and really just like having an outdoor nature school. Like right now, I'm out here in Mexico and I just went I found a preschool that's out in the jungle that I can volunteer at, and I'm getting ready to embark on that journey. And to me, that's for me to gain that understanding so that I can bring that knowledge back to my community. So that's what it's all about. Like I I have to be this chosen one. I have to be the living sacrifice. Like I feel like I'm still going with dealing with imposter syndrome. So all of those terms are heavy to me, like healer and all of that shit. Like I'm just me. Like I don't know. Like I never thought like a person who went through so much shit, like who really didn't have a voice, like who just would smile her way through things, could be
Mm.
so impactful, could be a leader. Like all these things that people refer to me as, I'd be like, that ain't me. I'd be like, leader? Oh shit, like that come with responsibility. Oh no, like I ain't perfect. Like, but it's like it's not about that. It's like really just about really just showing up as yourself and like just really I'm getting out because I know I feel where you are, where you is just like you want to heal, you want to change the mindsets of these people, and it's like, man, live your journey, teach without teaching. Don't sacrifice yourself for the work that you need to do within yourself. Like it's not about other people, it's about you. Like do that work for you. And like that's where I was getting tired of. I was like, man, I my shit, my whole life is I'm in survival mode right now in my life. I want to do shit for the community, but no, you gotta focus on yourself. You can't give what you ain't got. Like I literally had to shut. Like I'm so thankful for my best friend Shaniqua because she's continuing that work that we doing in DC with the pantry, with the fridge. I love her because she sends me check-ins and she tells me, lets me know what's happening with everything like that. But I was so adamant. Like Spirit had told me I was in the shower one day. He was like, man, you got to do something with your privileges. And like I felt privileged to be able to go into Whole Foods and have the freshest of the freshest produce and organic and all these things that my grandma used to send us to the Tiger Market down by Eastover and get chicken
Uh,
feet and shit like that. Like we didn't have access to shit. And it was shit you like you don't go in there, you don't get produce out of the Tiger Market because they got bugs, they got rats, they got this, they got that. You go somewhere else to get that, but you just get this, maybe a quesadilla, maybe this, some snacks, get this, and that's it. We would still eat like we was in the South, like we was like still enslaved and buckets of chitlins, shit like that, pig feet. We still eating like that because that was my grandmother's, like that's what she knew, and I understand it. So I'm thankful for those experiences because I go in the store now and I'm like, I see chicken feet. I'm like, man, I used to eat them shits with my grandma when I was young, when I was a kid. Like that's the culture. Like, and I'm grateful for what she left me. But I think for me, it's about taking the parts that I need to take from those experiences and creating my own life with it. And I feel like, it can be down to the simplest things. Like we had the family functions and I was over the summertime at my aunt's house and we had a function and my cousins is calling me talking about make me a plate. I'm like, I don't make fucking plates. I don't do that. Like I get the child, these women, they we gotta make the men plates first or whatever with the kids. I don't do that. I ain't packing no plates. If you ain't here at the function, you missing out on the food. They talking about something. Well, what would grandma do? Tell me what would grandma do? Grandma telling me to tell y'all ass, hell no, and that's my boundary, and I'm sticking to it. I ain't making no plates for nobody. And they try to shame you, but they can't shame what you own. I'm not my grandmother, but I've taken some of that essence of that spirit of my grandmother, which is the community and the feeding people and taking care of people. But I'm not sacrificing myself like my grandmother did for her family. You know, she did that so I didn't have to do it. Like me sacrificing myself would have been me staying in DC, me not really continuing to go on my journey because my family wanted me to stay close. Like my aunt, she one time I went home and my aunt was like, "You can stay. You should just stay." Like,
No.
and this is my elder, this is my elder, my great aunt. She's like, "You should just stay." And like she had me because we were still in the pandemic. This was like the early pandemic. And I was like, man, I could be with my family. I could be here being with my family. Why am I be in LA by myself and not with my family? Because that isolation, like when you chosen, you gotta be in that space. You gotta have those times when nothing, there's nobody, other voice but spirit, just voice, and that's all you can hear. So it's like that really, it started being like, damn, I want to be with my family, and having her be like, you could just be here, you could come, you could stay, I don't care. That kind of ate at me a little bit, and like I struggled, like I was almost about to cancel my flight, but I was like, no, I gotta go, I have to go, and I didn't know why I had to go, but I just knew I had to go, and I gotta. I went back in the room. I was like, I gotta go. But sometimes I still struggle. Like I said, like I struggle with the choices that I've made in the life that I have to live. Like, it's not always easy being on the road, being away from the things that you know. But at the end of the day, I know that I still have the foundation. I still got my ancestors. I still got, people with me in spirit. Like I'm super connected to that. Like I know that I'm not here alone, and I have to just reaffirm that sometimes for myself, just to be like, okay, it might get quiet, it ain't dysfunctional, like ain't no pow pow pow, ain't no fireworks, ain't no nothing, ain't no beers clanking, nothing. It's just quiet, it's peaceful, and I'm thankful for it. So that's where I'm at right now, though.
Okay, so being from the hood, just the inner city, I know that. Okay, so with the Black America tour, that's the traveling part of my podcast. Um, but I really just this is for me, but in a sense, the things that hurt me are the things that I see. So I want to bring light to just things that I see and have a space for people to kind of, have thought-provoking conversations or hear thought-provoking conversations and kind of see where they fit in on that. Um, but as I moved away from the city to North Carolina, I realized that there are different cultures of Black people, and whether that's the rural, the country, or just whatever the case may be. It looks so different place in many different places. What does being Black mean to you?
Oh my gosh, that's so loaded. But I think that that's something that's really been on my spirit lately. Just going through like the inner child work of just understanding like the trauma that I faced as a young Black girl growing up in the hood who listened to Britney Spears and who and sometimes was a little gothic in the way I dress. Like all these different things like that. My family could not understand that. And then I was also an insensitive Black kid too. Like I was awkward. So and I still am awkward. Let me not say I was. I am awkward and sensitive. And like that I struggle with that because in the hood, you gotta be hard. You gotta like take those shit. You gotta make sure you don't get punked on the playground. And even most of my punking and bullying came from my own family. Like that was their way of showing love. We clowning, we joning on each other, but we love you. I'm like, but y'all just ate my ass to shreds. How y'all gonna say you love me after you just clown me out for the last 15 minutes? So shit like that, like I always struggle with trying to define my Blackness and what and then how did the community define it or whether it was going to be in that community. Like, so that's something that I always really struggle with. For me, my blackness is however I choose to show up. It's however I choose to speak. I don't I speak in the way that I feel comfortable with, So I just want to speak and I just want to be able to show up as myself, my tattoos, my piercings, whatever music I listen to, however I dress. Like I want to, like I want to just celebrate my full spectrum of me, and however I choose to show up, whether I choose to show up in my masculine energy one day, my feminine energy the other day. Like
Yes.
some days I with my dress, some days I just want to wear like I just real street wear. Like I love a baggy, like nice, like fit, like with some sneakers. Like, but that's me. Like I just want to celebrate that for myself. Like not always look for validation from others because I've never been in the space of getting it. Honestly, like so I think that it's honestly just something that I need to work on within myself because I again felt triggered recently with my family member, describing me as weird when just and it's just like damn, it's like when is this shit going? When am I going to really be able to be in a space to own my power with this really? Because yeah, I'm weird. Yeah, I'm fucking weird because I do things that you never even thought about. But I just gotta say, fuck that, fuck them, in a general sense, just fuck them because I'm gonna live my life and do what I do. And if I'm weird for that, if I give you anxiety because I'm living my fucking best life, it is what it is. It is what it is. So I think for me, we as individuals, we need to define our own blackness by how choosing to show up in that. Like it don't have I don't it's not gonna I can't really describe it or have a language for it. It's just who I am and how I choose to show up. And then when I'm my most comfortable self, like I'm just really like just childlike, like the essence of a child, like and that's just and I mean and I'm enjoy, I enjoy that moment of just really being safe with people and like who choose to show up as themselves too. I love the weird kids. Like those are my people. Those
Okay.
are my people for sure, for sure. So I think for it within the culture as Black people, like I definitely or just even growing up in the hood, because you may have grown up in a different space, but just being in an urban area, like you always get this title of weird when you do things that's not like playing sports, that's not being tough, that's not being in the streets, like. That stuff never resonated with me. I was always like an artsy kid, so I had to go through this process of really just understanding like that it's okay to show up as that, to be a creative Black kid from the hood and love that about yourself because of the struggles that I had growing up in that environment. That is my art. That is how I really like. That is what I bring to life in this realm. So the pain, turning that pain into purpose. So I'm thinking, and the joys of growing up in the hood. Shit, it's joys too growing up in that community. So I'm thankful for that. That's why I say when I now that I have changed my whole perspective about what that experience has been for me, and like I've healed myself through just understanding that my family, the foundation of my family is love and joy. It's not the circumstances that we lived in. It's not the drug addiction. It's not the trauma. It's not all of that. It's my grandmother's love and that foundation and that willingness to make a sacrifice for the family, for the community, for the love and what we had. So I think that's what I think about when I go home. I'm like, yeah, I look forward to seeing my family now. I look forward to kicking shit on the porch with my family, like and talking shit and like I go back into it like it's nothing. Like I'd be like, you'll be thinking like I ain't spent a day out the hood. Like I'd be like, back in the trap, back in that whole like mindset. So sometimes it can be overstimulating for me, but because I've had some times where I was like, I gotta get the fuck away from here. So I love my little short ins and outs. I'd be like, but I'd stay for a while. Like I'll stay for like 2 weeks, but yeah, I'll definitely be in and out of DC because that's where my family is. So and that's where my roots are. So I'm thankful for what DC and just being a Southside baby, what that means to me.
I love that. Yes, I feel that it was very uncomfortable moving to North Carolina and not hearing no gunshots for a while. It was a culture shock for me. Like that, didn't
Right,
nobody talk
right,
about some rock bottoms on Sunday? Like it was different.
right, right.
But
Yeah. It definitely was different. Like I would go to Red Lobster when I was in California. I would go to Red Lobster just to be around some niggas. I was like, I want to be around some niggas, like not just some black people, some niggas. I want bad service. I want cheddar bay biscuit. I want somebody to be talking shit because you know they talking shit in there. They mad. What you want? Overheard a server, a black lady. She telling a table full of white people, "Y'all ready to order?" I was like, "Damn, I'm home. I just love this. I just love how we show up in the world." So I'm just thankful for that. So I know what that culture shock is like when you on this nomad kind of lifestyle. You go places that and like I've realized the places that I go, it always has like something that I can kind of feel like makes me feel like I'm at home. Like I'm here in Mexico and I'm like, damn, this remind me of St. Barnabas Road sometimes. Like I mean, like just random places. I'm like, this remind me of St. Barnabas Road. Like, that strip is like all those little shops and you walking down the strip. Like it feels like that in certain places. So it's like, and even in LA, like I was like, damn, this feels like DC or this feels like New York. Like here I'm in
Yes, I
Mexico,
do
I'm
that all the
flagging
time.
down. Yeah, like here, like when I went to London definitely felt like I was in New York. When I'm here flagging down cabs and shit, like I never did that in New York as a youth growing, like spending my summers there. But now I'm like, I got it. Like it's nothing. Like, hey, I need a cab. Like it's just an instinctual thing. Like when you've been around something, even if you're not even participating, you've been around it. Like just how to season that food because you're like, damn, I see my grandma use this, use that. I might not know how much she used, but it's an instinctual thing that I'm gonna use this, use that, and yeah, it's some things like that I feel like I'm appreciative of my journey because I've lived many lives and lived in many places and had many experiences because and for the fact that I'll live this life of this nomadic life and be on this journey, like that was what comforted me being in LA. I was like, damn, I already lived in New York. I lived in DC. This reminds me of both of those places. I can live here. Now I live in LA. I lived in DC. I lived in New York. Now I can live in Mexico. Like so all of those
Yes.
things you gotta be on your journey. Embrace your journey. I think like listen to spirit when he's telling you to move. Like I got a lot of people who, my they say they don't use that language of spirit, but they're like, man, I want to do this, I want to do that, and that's been sitting on my that's been sitting with me, and they don't ever do it because they let the fear get to them, and they let what they can't do and their limitations like speak to what they can do. And I get like that sometimes too. Like I don't trust me. Like I definitely had a lot of struggles with leaving LA again to come here because I felt like I finally found a home in LA. And I do. I love LA. But I need to focus on my journey, and my journey is not in one place. I think that we do need to
Yes.
focus on the journey and not the destination.
Ah, sorry. No. Okay, so you said that. That makes me want to. Okay, so I was going to ask you my last question, but now you just said something else, and I gotta ask this. What do you feel? What do you feel about? Okay, so one of my last questions is explain what do you feel about Black economics? But before I ask you that, I want to put a little context to it because if we're talking about and I think Kanye said it. Maybe I don't know. But he said something that triggered the thought of like, how I am. I live on the road. I don't want a house. Like I house it. This is somebody else's house. Like, so I live on the road, but um, I already know that America is a business. It's an economical. It's a big money machine. Like that's how it's ran. So to me, um, it didn't matter if it was black people or just whoever they found that wasn't in a position of power that they had at that time. They took them and brought us over here. It just happened to be us, and they did what they're doing now. Like we are workers, we get paid. Amazon just raised it to $15, but we get paid a certain amount of money um, to work for whatever the American machine company, whatever we applied for. But back then we were doing the same thing. They just didn't pay us. Now we're doing the same thing. That's how I see it. It's the same thing. Like we're still slaves in a sense. But and so I choose to step away from that and kind of do my own thing. And then when I talk about Kanye's interview, he talks about how even them wanting us to buy a house is a thing. And so that makes me think it's not even about race, it's about belief. So they want us to buy a house so that we can stay stationary and not do what you and I are doing and being out and exploring and realizing that it's not about anything but our journey and how we are experiencing life as spiritual beings. I feel like it's all a big conspiracy. I don't know. But what do you think about that?
Do you think that that journey is for everyone? Like this journey, like this nomadic journey, do you think that's a journey that everyone should partake on in or experience?
No, I don't think that everybody needs to move around, but I do think that everybody needs to be with self. A lot of times
Yeah,
we get the house and we're not there, or we're there with a bunch
yeah.
of people and we're never taking that time to be grounded with self.
Right. I definitely think that that's more so important than anything because I do feel like again, like we all on our own journeys. I definitely, we getting up in the age and it's like a lot of our classmates, having kids and getting a house and all of this. They got all these things that these assets, and I'm like looking at myself like I'm just like I got two suitcases. Goddamn dream. So I'm out here. So, but I get that. Like I do think that like at the end of the day for everyone that nomadic lifestyle is not going to be that for them, but I do think that they should prioritize, we all should prioritize having space with ourselves, taking space with ourselves if we can. But I think that it's going to be hard for people, like if they so conditioned and they lack the awareness that they have been conditioned to think that that is the level of, or that is the definition of success, of attaining things. Like that's just what they're going, the space that they're going to live in. So I think for everyone, everybody ain't going to be able to get out of that matrix, and it is what it is. It's not for everyone maybe to get out of that, but I do think that for me, I never really resonated with wanting a house. Like if anything, I want a tiny house. Like I just want to live minimalistically, but I also want to live like where I am not bound to things. Like I just like
Yes.
my spirit, my soul, it just does not want to be bound to things. So I gotta just really embrace that. Like, and that's just what's been calling me. And I do know what you're talking about with the Kanye West interview when he was talking about how his home is. He said his home is Northwest, so his home is in love, but he just lives. He lives in his like his backpack. He backpack living,
That's right.
But his home, yeah, he was saying his home was when his daughter called, and I thought that resonated with me too. It's like that's that home feeling. Like home is a feeling. So home can be
Mhm.
wherever you are. If you embrace that home is a feeling. Home is not uh, a place that you can hold in your hands. It's a feeling. It's that
Mhm.
call from your family member that you ain't talk to. It's a call from a person that said they thinking about you. It's that feeling of like, damn, this reminds me of St. By this road. Like it's that feeling. Like this home is a feeling. Like I go to this little taco spot, and they know, like I'm extra with my food. They know I'll be wanting more lines. One of the dudes, he got my lines ready for me. I'm like, por favor. Gracias, gracias. Like that is home. That's a feeling. Like that made me feel like, damn, I'm at home. Like these
They
people
know
see
you.
me. Like
Yes.
they see me
When
moving
you're
around. And I'm
seen,
becoming, yeah,
yes.
yeah. Like I'm becoming a part of this environment. I have playing a role in this environment, whether it's minuscule or whatever. Like it's still like I'm a part of it. And I think that that's for a lot of people a sense of belonging and community is what we lacking in the culture. Like
Yes.
we all want to feel like we belong, so things make you feel comfortable. I get it. Throughout the pandemic, I attained so much stuff. I came out there wanting to be this wanderer, wanting to like live minimalistically. But when it came to survival mode, I just needed something to make me feel comfortable. So I'm buying shit. I got a soundboard that I ain't never used. I got all this shit. Like I got all this shit. So when I started to decide to come out to Mexico, I was like, bro, I just bought all this shit I had less than a year. All of the shit that was making me feel comfortable, like that made me feel safe. It made me feel at peace to have all my stuff. And now I'm getting rid of all this stuff to to attain a new level of peace, like a true, like, because I feel like that stuff was instant gratification. It made me feel good in that
Mhm.
month, but then I would forget about the stuff. Like I got the soundboard on it. I was like, yeah, I'm on my Janaiko. Like I ain't playing. Like I gotta get my soundboard. I played with that shit for a couple days. I put that shit on the shelf, and it was just something to look at. The gratification of it, like it was really what it was. So I'm really, for me, I know that I need to really focus on just like not focus on attaining things, not focus on attaining a level of success that I have not tried for myself. Focus on just living and being on the journey, flowing with my journey, like, and like not going against my currents. Like I'm committed and setting attention that I just want to learn through grace. Like I have learned a lot of through struggle and chaos and dysfunction, and literally God dragging me through the mud. Like, girl, if you don't wake up, I just want to tell God that I just want to learn through grace. You don't gotta tell me more than once no more. Like you don't have to take me through it. You don't have to. Like I am going to listen. Like and coming out here was me listening. Like I was fighting it. My mind was telling me, "Girl, what are you doing? All you ever wanted to do was be in LA. Why are you leaving here? You got a tribe here. Why? What are you doing? You can make this work. You can get another job you don't love. You can work a lot of hours and make the money. Like it's like no, but my spirit was like, no, girl, you better go to Mexico where you gonna be in the jungle. You gonna be in nature. You gonna be at the
How
beach,
did you break
all of that, and
security?
just really embracing that. What breaking what?
Break security. You know, when we are,
Mm.
I feel like the more conditioned we are, the more security we need.
Oh right, right. I'm still working on it. Like I'm just like I'm embracing this new this just I'm trying to have this mustard seed of faith, man. I'm embracing the mustard seed of faith because it's hard. Like you hear and it's like I'm like, damn, I need a place to live. Like, and I'm really not trying to really focus on money. I haven't been like I'm because it's like out here I came to a great place where you can really like thrive out here on like if you got a lot of US money, but you only need a little bit of pesos technically for them. Like, the US money is a little bit more. So it's like I'm looking at places like for rent that's like $400 a month, and it's like I could never in my life imagine getting that nowhere. I subletted my homegirl place, and her shit is like 900 with 4 nights, like one furnished, one bedroom apartment that's right here on like a block away from the beach. So like this is my transitional place. But it's like I was paying that for a roommate situation to not live like where I wanted to be and be in comfort and be in peace. So when I was back in the States. So it's like it's just a matter of me just choosing being out here and being able to like make the shit work for myself and just flowing with it. Like I don't even know how it's gonna work. I got some backup plans, I know that, but I don't even know how it's gonna work. But I said I'm on a sabbatical
Ooh,
and I'm coming out here to just to be out here for as long as the universe allows me to.
what does
So
that mean? We
and
got it because we don't know.
so a sabbatical. So I and this is something that just came to my like it was on my spirit. I was like, man, because I kept telling people I was like, I'm moving to Mexico, but then I was like, that feels too heavy. I was like, that feels too heavy. I don't like that. I want to just say something else. Like, and it took me a couple days, and I was like, I'm going on a sabbatical. I'm out here on a sabbatical. I had to look it up for myself. I was like, I'm going to because that's something I know that it has like some connections to religion in the Bible, like a sabbatical. And I was like thinking about like what is a sabbatical? Like I always thought it was something like you go and you do some work like a missionary kind of thing. Like you go and do some work in another third world country or something like that. So I looked it up so I can make sure I was clear on it. But basically, there's many forms of sabbatical. You can have a work sabbatical, a spiritual sabbatical, where you just basically take time away from your life and go into a new space, however long, and you really just kind of shut yourself off to whatever that's going on in your actual life. Like, work. You're taking a sabbatical away from work, come out to maybe, Mexico or another beautiful Caribbean place, and you really just embrace what it means to be there. And it's usually longer than like a typical like vacation, like where, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You're taking some time to really like immerse yourself in the culture, immerse yourself in the experience of what it means to be in that other place, And for me, like I said, I found the opportunity to volunteer at a preschool in the jungle, and that was something that was divine for me because I was planning to go with my school on a study abroad to Denmark, and we were going to visit the forest preschools out in Denmark because I had been getting really interested in nature, being source of learning for children and like being in an outdoor space. And it's like, so I got bummed out because we couldn't go because of COVID or it got delayed, you know. But coming out here, I go to my ceremony and it's right next door to an outdoor preschool. And I'm like, damn, that like just aligning with shit like that be affirming a lot for me and be confirmation that I am on my journey when I see stuff like that because I always was manifesting that experience for myself. I always was saying I want to see what a outdoor preschool is like. I want to see kids out in nature. Coming from a concrete jungle, they started cutting our outdoor time. You know, as we was growing older, we got less and less outdoor experiences because it was option like, and that shit more blows my mind because now I'm talking to my cousin and she like, yeah, they took our outside time away, and this sound like they in jail. They sound like prison. Like now I gotta work for my outside time. Like what is this? Like, and that's a place that we
The fact that it can be
in our
taken
church.
away, like
Yeah, like what? And then like over the stupidest shit. Like you can be having a bad day and you decide you want to take my outdoor time away. Like it's a privilege to be outside when that is a person. Like I should be outside. I should be y'all, you know, so all that stuff just blows my mind. But I just got off topic. But basically, you know, the sabbatical for me has been like my intentions with it is just to surrender to my journey to get to the next level of my healing. So to participate into ceremonies when I'm called to do that, to go to the beach when I'm called to do it, just to catch the sunset, just really slow down my life. You know, not be worrying about some basic survivals because I'm paying less. You know, with I will be paying less with my rent, you know, once I really get into my permanent housing. But yeah, like that is my goal. And food, you know, cost of living is just it's a lot cheaper here. So I just really, for me, like I'm still in school. I'm still in the process of getting my bachelor's degree. So I'm just becoming a full-time student. I'm gonna focus on like getting, handling school, making sure that I take care of like financial aid, my scholarships, get grants, and that I am manifesting for myself that will carry me through this process of this sabbatical. And I got currently got a visa for like about 6 months. So right now I'm like that's where I'm at. Like my idea is to be out here for as long as that visa carries me, as long as the universe carries me, and we'll see what happens in a couple months, you know. But I'm out here and yeah, I feel like everything is right, you know, but I think that I just want all my niggas to be able to have time away from out of that matrix. Like the pandemic, the quarantine was a sabbatical for some of us. It really was. Like it was a space of getting out of the normal everyday, having to be here at a certain time. Like I didn't have to do nothing I didn't want to do when I was in quarantine. And that was true to me. It felt like the closest form of freedom that I ever experienced, you know, like knowing that I did not have to do anything. I didn't have to live on no time. I didn't know what time it was. I didn't know what day it was. I'm just living my life. I'm just being like just like the nature is. Like nature don't have to do nothing to grow. God feeds it and it's just there and it's just beautiful and it's serene and it's every beautiful thing it can possibly be. So I just want to get closer to that natural place of just being. So that's all that's what I'm doing out here on my sabbatical. Eating a lot of tacos. Um, I haven't done too much exploring, but I'm really focusing on right now trying to looking for like my permanent space that I'll be in. But yeah, I just been loving it, like getting up and going to the beach and just getting out into the ocean and just like just talking to God, talking, just affirming myself. And that I really do deserve to thrive and that I deserve this moment in my life, like this season in my life. And if this is my next level, or if this is the process of me getting to my next level, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it, whatever it means, whatever ceremonies I gotta go to, whatever people I gotta talk to on my path, I'm on it. Like I don't know if you read the about that alchemist book.
Mm-hmm.
You know about that book?
Yeah, I read it. The Alchemist.
Oh yeah. That's I read that like maybe a couple like 2 years ago. Like I feel like that's my journey. Like where he just the shepherd, he was just going through these spaces and he'd be here and he'd be working and he'll be going here and he'll meet the girl or he'll meet God and all these like and he started everything has meaning to it. He started feeling like trying to understand whether the sheep was following him or he was following the sheep. You know what I mean? Like all these different things, you know. I do feel like I think I am in line with that journey of being an alchemist, being able to turn my pain into purpose, being able to, really get this to be a light, to people. So that's what I'm doing.
What does healing mean to you?
Lord, healing, that's heavy. Healing for me is really just getting in a space where I can get, like I said, as close as possible to that natural self, like my natural self, my inner child. Like healing is like really just going within myself to find peace, like, get all of that, get all of those vibrations out of my body, that's those negative vibrations that's really like getting me to like vibrate in that lower self, you know what I mean? So like just healing is my foundation, and just being a better person, being a better me, showing up in community, loving others, being loved, taking care of myself, having boundaries, um, facing myself, being in awareness of my past lives and the person that I am today, and understanding that I still got many. It's still. I got ways to go, and that healing is not linear, and that I'm going to go through a process of where, I may, I be on my mountaintops, but I may be in my valleys too. But they're gonna be both beautiful based off the perspective that I hold in those places. So just being just flowing through my seasons. That's my healing. Like I'm on my journey. I don't know what's next for me, but I know that God is working through me.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Okay, so what does black economics mean to you?
Oh, economics. That is so loaded. Oh, I am such a like I am such a not a I am not like a person that like I don't know nothing about no money. I just know capitalism is the devil. Capitalism is horrible, but yeah, I am not the one for the money talk. I'm
Okay,
really
not okay, let me
because I feel
rephrase
like
it. Let me rephrase it.
yeah.
Okay, so with black economics, um, I think about the only way. So we live in poverty, and like, yes, we have this hood culture, and they redlined us to put us in these places, but they did that years ago, and we are so smart and so creative. We put our energy into um, just healing, whether it's healing the minds, healing the finances, healing the hood, whatever it is, we can do essentially the same things. We can have everything that the original American had, right? Um, the economics of America being a machine is why we're in this place. So for me, the way that we get out of that place is one by either playing the game with them. It's a chess game. So playing the game with them, buying our own land, building our own strip malls, having Starbucks get a contract with our strip malls on our land. Building building that agriculture where we feed the community and then scaling it so we're feeding the other community too. Um, these that's what I see when I think about black economics, but it only works if we start to do it for ourselves in a self-sufficient way. So what do you feel about self-sufficiency? That's better in the black community.
Mm, mm. I'm about to sit with that one. I don't even have an answer for that, but I just know that something that I've, you know, over the summer, me and Shanika, we did a Ward 8 market, and we wanted to do that because I genuinely felt inspired by a lot of the movement by the Black Panthers and, what they did with just like, giving people, the Black community, their basic survival needs, like opening up these, free clinics and all of these different things that they did with their limited resources, they were able to do that. For me, like that is my idea of Black economics, of having a community within this society that focuses on us, the people who've been underserved, and putting them in higher positions to like just have their basic survival skills, like survival needs, so that they can really thrive in the world. Because I think that until we really get that, until we take care of our mental health, until we address our trauma from our past, like we can have all the money in the world, but we're not going to do what we really need to do with that. Like I don't even, for me, it's like it's not about attaining money. I don't feel like I would even want to attain a lot of money. I will let me get my land. Give me my land. Give me my goddamn land. Like I don't need no money. Give me my land and let me build this land up and let me put people here and allow them to thrive. And we just gonna keep the money just gonna keep circulating because money is like to me like it's a small vibration. So you always in abundance of that. Like you don't have to worry about money. But when it comes to the community, I do think that we gotta do what we can, you know, because I do think that it's systematically built to keep us under. You know, we can only do what we can, but
Exactly.
the people who do have that outside thinking, the who people who've been called to understand finance. Like we got a girl that went to school with us. She does real estate and she does absolutely amazing, and she helps a lot of Black families get into their homes. And it's just like that's to me, that's community. That's building Black economics because we know having a home is the closest way to pass down generational wealth to your family, so to your children. So I think that when we get called to do things like that, to be of service to people, to have our lives in order, to have a home for ourselves, and then we've done it and we can make it happen. We can show other people how to get it. Like that's what we got to do. Travel to me is an important part of Black economics. Like if you don't know what's out there in the world, like I'm seeing the shit that I ain't never seen before. I'm seeing
Yes.
possibilities. So for me to live, I gotta live my life and do what I'm called to do. And if my calling is to do it, to travel, to go here, to go here, there, to gain these experiences, I want to bring that abundance back. That's bringing up your abundance. Abundance don't have to always be money. It's what you
Right.
learn,
Right.
it's your gifts, bringing it back to your community. That's how we continue to build
Do
on.
you watch EYL? um,
No,
Earn Your Leisure podcast. They're doing really big things. But their whole thing is Black economics. And for me, that's a mindset. So a lot of our people are conditioned, whether you're in the rural area and you're conditioned to only have your land and that's it, or you conditioned to only live in an apartment and go to work and that's it. Like we all have different levels of conditioning. So um, when I'm seeing economics, I'm seeing teaching people. I know so many Black people who be like, I don't have no mental health problems. Like, yes, you do. Like, I can assure you, you do. But you don't see it. It's not even on your radar. You don't have exposure to it.
right.
That would be one Black economics. And then how you spend your money. If you're working so hard for this money in survival mode, you're unable to spend the time with your kids because you're working so hard. Let's find a different economical way to use your brain. I personally think my mind is my greatest weapon. They can't take that from me. They can take all of this. They can't take my mind. I'm gonna be like Victor. What's his name? Victor Frankl. If you read that book, he was in a concentration camp, and he saw the people who mentally couldn't handle it. They died sooner. They eventually died because they're in this concentration camp. Versus him being in his head with his peace in his head, he was able to live to tell the story. I feel like we have to learn emotional intelligence. We have to figure out our peace, like realize truly that our peace is in our heads. And to me, all of that comes with healing the Black mind and building economics, not just the money aspect. Because I feel like if you're in your power and you're in your purpose, the money will come. Like the money is gonna
Exactly,
come.
exactly. So just basically just living, yeah, living in your purpose. Like that's it. That's it. That's all we meant to do. That's all we need to do. You know, some of us have bigger purposes than others, but for me, it's like I gotta get back to understanding that I'm here to heal myself. That's what I'm here
Right.
for. And whatever I'm teaching through just living my life, like I'm teaching through just being on my journey and sharing that and storytelling and coming on a podcast, your podcast, and being able to really share what I, some of the things that I've been through and then some of the things that I'm processing still. So that's the wealth. Shit,
Yes.
healing is the wealth. Health is wealth.
Yes,
Like,
sharing the story,
oh,
community.
yes. Community is wealth. Like, that's what they want us to get so far from that. And that is our culture. Like, that is our roots, to be in community, to be together. Like, it's not, and to be in this collectivist mindset. And that can have some negative connotations, but I think it's mostly groupthink when I think of like that culture that we have now, and like with the family. It's like, yeah, we can be with the family and we can do for the family, but I don't have to think how y'all think just because I love y'all. Like, that's not, no, I don't
Exactly.
have to do what you do. Just like, we just blindly follow, our elders. And it's like, I get, for some things they did that, some things to protect us. It's like, coming from that enslaved and that, that enslaved culture where, you had to protect your family by telling them, keep your head down, do, respectability politics, play those politics, and do what you have to do to survive. And it's like, no, I can speak my mind. Like, now we in this new world. Like, I'm not personally worried about getting, I don't even know. I won't get too heavy, but I'm not personally worried about the same struggles that they had. You know what I mean? Like, they were worried about getting the KKK coming, or just getting beat for just speaking their mind. And it's like, yeah, we still are facing some similar struggles with, but we do have a lot more power in this space that we in now to really create platforms where we can speak our mind, we can share our stories, we can share our struggles of our families, and we don't have to all play that part where we just keeping our head down and we can't tell our story, and we just gotta hold the pain inside. And it's like, I'm tired of that shit. That's what's really bringing us down as a community, as a people, like Black people, like holding your pain in and not telling your story. Like, that's something that's what all my shit is about. Use what they gave you, use that pain, turn that pain into purpose, tell your story. Don't keep wearing that mask. A lot of people were wearing their mask before COVID. Like, don't wear that mask. Take that mask off and be yourself. Like, be yourself, be your true self. Just be as naked as possible. Like, I think that's like, we gotta stop being afraid of being naked in front of each other. Like, nobody, like, I always hated small talk. Motherfuckers don't want to talk about shit like that's real deep and heavy. Like, and it don't even gotta be deep and heavy. Like, it don't even feel deep and heavy to me, but it's deep and heavy to other people who don't like to talk
Somebody
like
else,
that.
yeah.
But yeah, like, it's regular shit. Like, I'll be like, I want to talk about that. Like, I like to let conversations flow. But when a motherfucker just want to keep it light and they just want to talk about small talk shit, they just want to complain about shit that they don't have no control over, and it's just like, I don't want, like, where's your power right now? Like, I don't want to talk about shit like that. Like, what can you really do? What can you change? Like, you talking about some shit that you have literally no control over, and I like, that's some of the things I be having conversations with people from my past, and I'll be like, I need to get away from them, like, in totality, because what are they talking about? They're not talking about nothing. It's just empty conversation. It's just like, you just so stuck in your trauma. Like, and I've gotten past that. Like, where I'm not, like, I'm in a space where I know that I'm emotionally intelligent. I know that I'm more emotionally in tune with myself and my body. Like, where I can really see some feelings happening. Like, I had moments where I'm like, oh, you got my body going. like you got my body going. My spirit is telling me, like, I'm about to cuss you out. Like, and I just gotta walk away. Like, and I can't do it. Like, but like you said, like, your body will tell you, like, when some shit about to go off, and you just know, like, that's instinctual, that you just gotta either walk away, or you might gotta get about it, because I'm spiritual, but I'm still ratchet too. Like, you gotta get,
Sophistic ratchet. Hey.
yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, sometimes you gotta cut people out, and that's just the boundary that they know not to fuck with you. Like, I didn't have to cut family members out. Like, and not get too crazy, like, not in a nasty way, but tell the motherfucker they not gonna tell you shit. Like, I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. You're not gonna tell me how to feel. You're not gonna tell me how to think. You're not gonna tell me who the fuck I can be. And they will respect you more when you tell them that shit. I'm telling you. They will respect you more, because they know now that your boundary is, she's her own person. She ain't gonna listen. She's not gonna be told who the fuck she can be. So I'm gonna respect that, and I'm gonna make sure I'm not going to even take the conversation in. She ain't like these other motherfuckers. She ain't gonna hear that shit. And that is what it is. And
Yes.
I'm at peace. And now I'm at peace because I told this motherfucker what it is, and now they ain't gonna come at me sideways ever again. Period. So
I'm still working on
that's
that.
it.
I feel like I still tell people, like, I feel like I'm moving more in a space of like just being and just showing you what I'm on, but I still say stuff because I feel um like I know that people can't see what I see. I know that there are still a bunch of people that have that veil over. So I want to talk, and I try to change my wordings, like, you could do this, or like I always want people to know that there are other options. I talk to a lot of people that think that what they got to do tomorrow is the only option that they have. And I'm just like, I wake up and I ask God, what are we doing today? So it's like, it's not the only option. I don't want you to feel like I'm telling you what you got to do, but at the same time, I definitely want to have a conversation with you and get your brain flowing as to, okay, what else can I do? So I'm still struggling on that. I do rub people the wrong way for sure, though. So
Yeah, I think that like the some of the so like even with like my ceremony, like one of the things that the facilitator was saying that you don't just go off and just start telling everybody about what happened and what process you went through because it's not you don't want to scare people off. Like I was in the beginning of my journey, I was doing a lot of that. Like you should do this because people put me in this strong archetype. I'm the strong friend, I'm the strong cousin, I'm the light. Like they this and I'm this and I'm that. And so they don't have a whole space for me when I'm going through shit. But I gotta hold. I always have to hold space for them. So I got so in tune with being that I'm just like, let me give offer up advice. They might not even be calling for that. They might just be here, just want to talk. So I got to make sure that I really like stay in awareness of how I be showing up too. Like you can be woke, but you ain't got to wake motherfuckers up if they ain't ready to be woken up. That's not for you. That's not for you. That's not for you to do that. Like that's why I say with the elders, like I make my little comments and shit, but I'm not getting wrapped up in fighting them on how they feel. Like, cause that's how you take away. They taking your power. Like they got control over you because now they got you wrapped up in some shit. When that ain't your work to do, they gotta do that work on their own. We gotta like even with like I was working in the job I was working in, or just being understanding that we are navigating a lot of whiteness in the spaces that we in. I got wound up with feeling like I got to do that work. I got to teach them about equality and diversity and inclusion. Hell no, they got to do that work for themselves. As a Black woman, I've done enough for this space, this world. I'm not this community. I'm not sacrificing myself anymore to try to change people and how they want to show up and what they think. Like they gotta go read a book. They gotta do some research. They gotta go do some soul searching. They gotta go to the jungle and do some ceremonies. They gotta do what the hell they gotta do to find themselves. That's not for me to shake them up and no, because that shit that really will have you really so focused on them that you're not even focused on yourself. Like that's a lot of energy given up. Like I'll be having conversation. I still do it to this day. Like I'll get into it and I'm talking to a friend and they talking negatively and I'm just trying to get them out of it. And it's like let them be in the space they am. And if it's too much for you, get off the phone with them. Because that's not for you to get them like to heal them and save them. Like you just stay in your peace, stay in your space. Like I get round up with it because you love people so much. You care about people so much, and that nurturing part of you is just in who you are. But do that for yourself. Go hard for yourself. Fuck that. Go off for yourself. Stop
period.
on the
Okay,
external.
I'm this for me too, honey, because I'm
I
still,
know.
this is
Yeah, I know it's
100% still
process.
my journey.
Yeah, it's levels to the shit. Like I get it. When you first get on it, you like, oh my God, you so woke up to everything. You like, man, I gotta help people. I gotta, I can change, I can heal the block.
I feel like that's how it
That's
was,
your work.
yeah. But
That's
I
your
feel
work.
like there is work. There's when you first wake up and the veil is coming. I did a podcast on this. When you first wake up and the veil uncovers from your eyes, you're woke. But then once you can see your part in it, like how you are affecting other people, that's when you start to become conscious. I feel like it's two different things. Um, and I feel like for a while I was on this step or I don't know, I was in this flow state of just being woke, but I didn't do the work yet. So I was woke, but I was unhealed. I was just unhealed, just out here, just
Exactly.
spreading trauma everywhere. And now that
Right.
I'm super
Exactly.
on the path, um, now I'm becoming conscious. Now I have a self awareness. Now I can see, I can understand my feelings and understand how I'm coming off to other people. And I said that's a different level of consciousness that just being woke doesn't provide. You have to do some healing to get there. So now I'm here, but I'm like at the low level, like I'm still working my way up. And so I just want to continue to have these type of talks so that while I'm on my journey, we could probably help someone else that, maybe in a different stage.
Yeah. Then this is how, that Kevin Gates quote. I keep thinking about it. It was like the I think the greatest teachers teach without teaching, and I think that that
Yes.
was very powerful to the journey. Like we don't. I know I'm a educator at heart, but it don't have to be in a classroom. It don't have to be in a traditional way. It don't have to be me standing in the front of the classroom. You should do this or listen to me. I'm the one that knows. It can be me just living in my truth and living on my journey and teaching without the instruction. Like I'm really like
Mm-hmm.
I'm experimenting with myself. I am the experiment. So now you got a front page into what I'm doing, the experiments that I'm doing for myself, and you can decide whether they for you or they not. I'm not telling you to go out into the jungle, but if your spirit is saying, "Damn, let me see what that's about," research
Mm-hmm.
it, look into it, because it may be of something that's calling you there.
Oh, you
You
speaking
know?
something. Oh, I
Yeah.
always say I just want to be a catalyst for the culture. Like I don't want to be the teacher. Like don't put me on a podium because I don't want to be shot down. Like I just want to be a catalyst to what else is out there, the exposure. When I was younger, a woman, Miss Bledsoe, she took me out. We was all in Utah as a teenager. I'm from Southeast, but I was spending my summers and spending. They was taking me out of school and taking me to these different places. I got a different level of exposure. So I just want to pay it forward and do that for children, take them out of the hood, take them over here on a Black America tour so we can see, first of all, like we were slaves, but bro, we were slaves and we're here. Like that's something to talk about.
Right.
We have so much strength within us. So I want to show that and expose the old and the new to that. Um, the young, but also I want to expose the new. I want to do it in a way where the is that I'm not making sense. I want to do it for the older people as well because these are where the babies are going back home to. So if they can have if anything I say can give them a little bit more understanding or desire to want to learn more or do something different, then I feel like I've done my job. But I just, like you said, I just want to live in my truth and walk on my journey. And it for me, it takes community.
Facts. Facts. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's I think for me for with the elders, I do think it's just that their part is the to embrace teach us how to embrace that community because that's what they had, and that is
Mhm.
it's a foundation of love and joy. So I think that for them that's their part, and that's why the young and the older need to learn together because we getting so disconnected from that community that they lived in and they thrived in ways, it's not they survived in it and they thrived in it in ways as well because of the love and the joy that they had and the togetherness. And if I ain't got some bread and butter, I know that my next door neighbor's gonna have it for me. You know what I'm saying? Like that is an ability to thrive. We looking out for each other. So I think that we need to just get back to that and we need to learn together more. So this is pretty good though, the conversation and yeah, I'm just hoping to do more. Like you got me inspired to like really to put the journey into words more. I'm not a writer. I'm not a my cousin was like, you need a journal. And I was like, I don't really journal. I'm not like that one of those kind of people. Like I like having conversations. And I like having natural
Yeah,
conversations. I don't they just flow. Like I don't know. I'm not a prompt kind of girl. Like I'm not I'm like, damn, I don't know. But it's good. Sometimes writing is good. But I think that for me, it's power in the tongue because that was a place where I was cut off at. No,
Yes.
you are to be seen and not heard. So it's like I want to use my voice. Like it's so funny. Like
You
people
need a
that know me, like
podcast.
my yeah, I'm girl. You got me thinking. I was like, I'm gonna get on here and see what this about. But yeah, like it's. I know I'm being called to like really just share. That's all. I ain't here to teach. It's just sharing my story. That's all.
Exactly. That I put in my bio that I'm certified in emotional intelligence, but I don't teach it yet because I'm still trying
Yeah,
to put it to use within myself. But I can
exactly.
have some pointers if you want to, I can give some tips
Right.
because I
Yeah, I mean, I think we get tied up too in being an expert. I always be like that. Like I was like that. I need to go to school, so I don't be talking out my ass. I gotta go get this psychology degree and all this stuff. And I'm like, I got enough experience from what I've experienced. And if I continue to be on my journey, the more experiences I had, that's all I need to do is share that. Share that. Like this is what's working for me. I went to therapy. I'm in the jungle healing. I'm working with shamans and this is what's working for me, and if you called to do it, like I said, if it's calling you, like it called me, like having somebody to tell me about it or, seeing about it in something and doing my own research, like that's you co-creating this shit. Like you can have it, like a thought can come in your mind, but you don't gotta take a step on that shit. Like I've seen that happen for myself too. Like I had plenty of visions and ideas that I didn't move on, and I seen other people move on them because we all connected in that spiritual realm.
yes.
So the same, you think the shit that's flowing through you, can't nobody steal your ideas. We all the shit cycling through us. All God said if He can't use you, He gonna use the next man.
Okay.
So ain't nobody stealing no ideas. Like I got other ideas. Like God gonna use me if you let God use you, and it may not be in the ways that you know it's gonna be or you think it's gonna be. Just be open to Him using you. So yeah, so I'm open right now, and I'm saying yes. Like my cousin called me, and she was like, "I just had a dream or a vision from spirit, like that. We need to say yes to. We gotta tell spirit yes to the journey. Tell him yes to what he called you to do. And I'm just like, this is my year of yes. Yes to this. Like
Yes.
I'm saying yes to coming to Mexico. I don't know what's out there for me, but yes. Sometimes I had to say no too. But that no is ultimately for the yes. So it's all about that. So that's my year,
Protection.
yes. That's what I'm
Protection.
on.
That's their
Yeah.
protection.
Right.
Where
No
can
to
we
what you think you want, but yes to what we want. We think we know you need. Facts.
yes.
So
Where can we find
so
you? Where can people find you? Connect with you?
so you can find me, and I hope my because I know my one of my AirPods then already died.
Okay,
So you
good.
can
We out
find
of here.
me right. You can find me on my website is www.nomoresummers.com. My Instagram is at underscore no more summers. And then like my brand's Instagram is at underscore I believe summers no more. I believe. Don't quote me on that, but
Okay.
you can find me on at underscore no more summers. That's my personal page. And then also my website at nomoresummers.com. And then hopefully I'll shoot out, Victoria got me inspired. I might be on here doing some type of podcast soon. But I definitely want to talk more about this
Yes.
this this sabbatical and highlight more of that within the community because that's the journey I'm on right now. And I think that yeah, like the Black sabbatical movement, that's what it's about, So
Yes.
we migrating. So that's my vision right now. So I don't know what it's gonna come in form of, but it may come in form of a podcast or just some type of space where I can talk and create a platform for people that, because I got a friends that's out here in Mexico who's also migrated from, LA, from even the DMV area and just in other places. It's beautiful. All these spiritual, Black souls just finding their way in life. So I do want to highlight that more.
hmm I love that. I
Yeah,
think it's needed. I think that we
yeah,
need to talk more about podcasting because it's super,
yeah.
super important and it is becoming the radio. So
Right,
you getting in that right now is, I think, amazing. And just with the reach that you are going to have, I just think that's super important, finding your people. Um,
right.
I'm so thankful. Like, I can't wait to bring you back. I hope you come back because this was amazing.
No, I'm super appreciative of this. I didn't know like what it was gonna be like. But I definitely, before the conversation, I prayed that spirit would just kind of guide me through this conversation and just speak through me, and I just hope that some messages came across the way they were supposed to come across. And they spoke to whoever that they needed to speak to, because I'm only here as a vessel. So I just appreciative of being used.
All right. Well, do you have any last words for us? Anything encouraging for somebody that is getting started on their healing journey?
I would just say keep going, but not in a don't keep going in a toxic way, because I'm learning that whole idea of keep going can become toxic if you in a space where your spirit is telling you no on something. Move with that. Move with your energy, like reconnect with your body and really like start trusting yourself. I got something called a skeptical Negro syndrome. I hope I'm gonna write my dissertation on that. Skeptical Negro syndrome, where we always just skeptical of things, even good things. We've been conditioned to always be aware of bad things or trouble on the horizons, and it's just like it has conditioned us to be skeptical of even the good things in life. And I just want whoever's listening out there to really just dive deep in the good things, thrive, like get out of survival mode and understand that you belong in the spaces that God is calling you to. That's
Yeah.
something that I'm speaking to myself, because I'm constantly trying to navigate being this place of deserving the things that's coming to me, or the things that I do have. So I'm just here on my journey, and I'm thankful to be able to share with whoever's listening. So just keep going and use what they gave you.
Yes, I love it. Of course, this video is brought to you by LegacySolutions.com. That's legacy with two L's, because in order for us to get started, we really got to focus on self and our inner work. But then once we do that, we want to focus on our credit, getting our credit right, financial literacy, and finding out what we can do with what we have. Like you said, using what you got. Yes,
Exactly.
so thank you again. Y'all make sure y'all go follow her. No more summer underscore no more summers. I'm gonna put it somewhere in the chat. And yes, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Victoria.